Have you ever felt haunted by something you thought was over? A conversation that ended years ago? A betrayal long past? A mistake you made in the quiet of your youth? And yet, even in your moments of rest, when your body is still and your eyes begin to close, that same thought comes knocking again, like a wind rattling an old door. Why does that person keep returning in your mind? Why does that single moment still sting, still pull at the edge of your heart like a loose thread? Tonight, I invite you to lie back and breathe, not just to sleep, but to understand. Because even though this ache feels mysterious, it is not random. In Buddhist thought, what repeats is often karma still circling. Not punishment, but unfinished energy echoing in your mind until it is seen. And tonight, we begin to see it gently. Not with force, not with shame, but with the wisdom of those who walk this path before you. Let's begin with a story. One so old, it has danced through centuries, through incense and temple bells, through forests and thunderclouds. You may know of the Monkey King, wild, proud, defiant. His name is Sun Wukong. Born from stone, blessed with immortal powers, he tore through heaven itself. He wanted more, always more. Power, recognition, freedom from rules. He fought demons, gods, even fate. But there was one presence he could not defeat. One presence that didn't fight at all, only sat. Silent, still. That presence was the Buddha. And in many ways, you are the Monkey King. Your thoughts leap like his restless, hungry, impatient. Just like him, you fight to be heard, to be safe, to be loved, to be enough. And like him, you find the world doesn't always give what you ask. So you leap higher, think harder, try again, until your mind too is caught in the endless sky like a monkey swinging through clouds with no branch firm enough to rest on. But tonight, you stop running. Tonight, we look together at what the Monkey King represents, not just in myth, but in the mirror of your own mind. Sun Wukong was powerful, but power did not free him. It exhausted him. He became a prisoner, not of chains, but of his own mind. His craving, his pride, his refusal to be still. He challenged the Buddha, hoping to prove he was limitless. The Buddha raised a single hand and said, "Leap from here to the edge of the universe and place your mark." The monkey soared. He flew past stars, past planets, found 5 pillars, marked them, relieved, triumphant. And when he returned, the Buddha showed him those pillars were just the fingers of that same hand. That's how it is with your thoughts. You leap from problem to problem, from what if to why me, from yesterday to tomorrow. But no matter how far you think you've gone, the loop remains. The same hand, the same mind. The Buddha didn't trap the monkey in anger. He placed him under a mountain not to punish, but to still him. Stillness is not a cage. It is a mirror. And in that quiet, the Monkey King began to see. Not all at once, but slowly, patiently. Like you are seeing now. Your thoughts are not the enemy. Your mind is not broken. It is just fast, trained by a world that rewards movement but forgets the value of rest. You were taught to keep going, to keep thinking, to fix everything. But sleep and healing don't come from thinking more. They come from thinking less, not from pushing thoughts away, but from watching them drift. like clouds across the evening sky. There is nothing to chase, nothing to fix, just the breath, just the body softening, just the old echoes finding space to settle. The story of the Monkey King is not about defeating thoughts. It is about befriending them, listening to them, seeing how they pull you because they are afraid of being forgotten. And yet, they too are impermanent. Like every wave, every breeze, every tear, right now, you may feel the weight of something, maybe shame, maybe regret, maybe longing. That's okay. You are not here to erase it. You are here to sit beside it, like the Buddha sat with the monkey, with patience, with calm, with a love that doesn't demand anything back. Breathe now, deeper. Feel how even in this story, this ancient dance of chaos and stillness, you begin to find yourself. You begin to see that your inner storms have danced before, that others have walked this path of restlessness and longing, and that they, like you, found peace not by fighting, but by staying, by breathing, by watching the hand that holds the sky. Tonight is not about answers. It is about presence, about giving your tired thoughts a place to rest. The Monkey King thought he needed to escape the mountain, but the mountain was the medicine. And for now, your pillow, your blanket, the sound of my voice is your mountain. Gentle, grounding, a place to return. Nothing is chasing you anymore. Nothing is broken. You are not too late, not too much, not behind. You are here. That is enough. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't resist, don't cling. Just be. Have you ever felt haunted by something you thought was over? A conversation that ended years ago. A betrayal long past. A mistake you made in the quiet of your youth. And yet, even in your moments of rest, when your body is still and your eyes begin to close, that same thought comes knocking again, like a wind rattling an old door. Why does that person keep returning in your mind? Why does that single moment still sting, still pull at the edge of your heart like a loose thread? Tonight, I invite you to lie back and breathe, not just to sleep, but to understand. Because even though this ache feels mysterious, it is not random. In Buddhist thought, what repeats is often karma still circling. Not punishment, but unfinished energy echoing in your mind until it is seen. And tonight, we begin to see it gently, not with force, not with shame, but with the wisdom of those who walk this path before you. Let's begin with a story. One so old, it has danced through centuries, through incense and temple bells, through forests and thunderclouds. You may know of the Monkey King. Wild, proud, defiant. His name is Sun Wukong. Born from stone, blessed with immortal powers, he tore through heaven itself. He wanted more, always more. Power, recognition, freedom from rules. He fought demons, gods, even fate. But there was one presence he could not defeat. One presence that didn't fight at all, only sat, silent, still. That presence was the Buddha. And in many ways, you are the Monkey King. Your thoughts leap like his restless, hungry, impatient. Just like him, you fight to be heard, to be safe, to be loved, to be enough. And like him, you find the world doesn't always give what you ask, so you leap higher, think harder, try again, until your mind too is caught in the endless sky, like a monkey swinging through clouds with no branch firm enough to rest on. But tonight, you stop running. Tonight, we look together at what the Monkey King represents not just in myth, but in the mirror of your own mind. Sun Wukong was powerful, but power did not free him. It exhausted him. He became a prisoner, not of chains, but of his own mind, his craving, his pride, his refusal to be still. He challenged the Buddha, hoping to prove he was limitless. The Buddha raised a single hand and said, "Leap from here to the edge of the universe and place your mark." The monkey soared. He flew past stars, past planets, found 5 pillars, marked them relieved, triumphant. And when he returned, the Buddha showed him those pillars were just the fingers of that same hand. That's how it is with your thoughts. You leap from problem to problem, from what if to why me, from yesterday to tomorrow. But no matter how far you think you've gone, the loop remains. The same hand, the same mind. The Buddha didn't trap the monkey in anger. He placed him under a mountain, not to punish, but to still him. Stillness is not a cage. It is a mirror. And in that quiet, the Monkey King began to see. Not all at once, but slowly, patiently, like you are seeing now. Your thoughts are not the enemy. Your mind is not broken. It is just fast, trained by a world that rewards movement but forgets the value of rest. You were taught to keep going, to keep thinking, to fix everything. But sleep and healing don't come from thinking more. They come from thinking less, not from pushing thoughts away, but from watching them drift, like clouds across the evening sky. There is nothing to chase, nothing to fix, just the breath, just the body softening, just the old echoes finding space to settle. The story of the Monkey King is not about defeating thoughts. It is about befriending them, listening to them, seeing how they pull you because they are afraid of being forgotten. And yet, they too are impermanent. Like every wave, every breeze, every tear. Right now, you may feel the weight of something. Maybe shame, maybe regret, maybe longing. That's okay. You are not here to erase it. You are here to sit beside it. Like the Buddha sat with the monkey, with patience, with calm, with a love that doesn't demand anything back. Breathe now, deeper. Feel how even in this story, this ancient dance of chaos and stillness, you begin to find yourself. You begin to see that your inner storms have danced before, that others have walked this path of restlessness and longing, and that they, like you, found peace not by fighting, but by staying, by breathing, by watching the hand that holds the sky. Tonight is not about answers. It is about presence, about giving your tired thoughts a place to rest. The Monkey King thought he needed to escape the mountain, but the mountain was the medicine. And for now, your pillow, your blanket, the sound of my voice is your mountain. Gentle, grounding, a place to return. Nothing is chasing you anymore. Nothing is broken. You are not too late, not too much, not behind. You are here. That is enough. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't resist, don't cling, just be. You are like the Monkey King, not because you wear a crown of gold or wield a magic staff, but because your mind leaps from branch to branch, from one desire to the next, from one fear to another. You wake in the middle of the night thinking about what you should have said, what you could have done, or what may happen tomorrow. And in that restless swing of thought to thought, you forget that peace was never out there. It was always inside you, waiting. The Monkey King was born from stone, untouched by mother or father, carved from the bones of the earth and awakened by the breath of heaven. He opened his eyes into chaos and decided that he would conquer it. Maybe you too woke up one day and realized the world was too much, too loud, too unfair, too uncertain. And so, like him, you sharpened your mind, trained your thoughts, gathered strength and knowledge, and chased every goal that promised safety, praise, or control. But there is a cost to always reaching. The more you stretch, the more your soul tires. The more you climb, the less you remember why you started. Like the monkey, you may have gained much, and yet still feel empty when the room is dark and the only sound is your breath. In Buddhist teachings, the monkey mind is a well-known image. Not evil, not flawed, just untamed, always reacting, always chasing, never still. It jumps at every sound, every craving, every story the world throws into your mind, but you were not born to chase every thought. You were born to choose which thoughts deserve your attention and which can be allowed to pass like drifting leaves on a stream. The Monkey King learned this not through fighting, but through stillness, though it took him a long time to understand. You are learning now. You are ahead already simply because you are here, lying down, listening, watching your thoughts without rushing to fix them. That in itself is a deep act of wisdom. You are not your thoughts. You are not the monkey leaping. You are the quiet forest watching it leap. You are the sky that holds the clouds but does not become them. And yet, how often you forget. How often you fall into the story your mind tells that you are failing or running out of time or being left behind. But those stories, like the monkey's many adventures, are not the truth. They are chapters in a longer journey. Not permanent, not final. Just pages turning. The Monkey King in his early arrogance believed that he could conquer heaven. He fought dragons, gods, and celestial armies. He crossed oceans on clouds transformed into birds and demons and outwitted kings. But the one thing he could not defeat was himself. That is your truth as well. The most powerful change does not come from winning the outside world. It comes from making peace with the world inside you. That world, the one of spinning thoughts, unfinished memories, doubts that return when the lights are low. That world only softens when you do. Right now, in this breath, I invite you to soften, not give up, not collapse, but let go of the tension that says you must always be doing, solving, performing. You don't have to impress anyone here. There is no audience in the quiet temple of your own awareness. Only presence, only breath. In ancient sutras, it is said that the mind, when untamed, is like a monkey drunk on wine, stung by a bee, and possessed by a ghost. But when gently watched, that same mind becomes a wise friend, a tool, a path. You are already beginning to see that. Feel how your body begins to loosen, not from force, but from understanding. You don't need to fight the monkey. You only need to stop feeding it every fear and fantasy. Let it settle. Let it yawn. Let it sit with you under the Bodhi tree of your own quiet strength. There, even the wildest thoughts bow. Even the loudest anxieties lose their grip, not because they were destroyed, but because they were finally seen, truly seen. And what is seen clearly loses its power to control you. Breathe. Feel the space behind your forehead. Feel how it opens like a window to the sky. Let every thought rise, float, and disappear. There's no need to hold on to any of them tonight. The Monkey King once believed that movement was life, that only action had meaning. But as the story unfolded, he learned that stillness is its own kind of strength, that to sit, to watch, to listen, to accept that too is power. So you lie here now, not doing nothing, but doing something sacred. You are listening to the ancient part of yourself, the part that remembers what the world forgets, the part that knows healing begins not in reaction, but in presence. Let the monkey in your mind grow quiet. Let him sit. Let him learn. As you are learning, as you are remembering, all things pass, all storms end. Even the most restless mind becomes calm when you stop feeding it urgency. Even the Monkey King rested eventually. So will you, while your thoughts swirl like leaves in the wind, trying to grasp answers in the dark somewhere deep within. You knows there is another way, one that doesn't chase, doesn't push, but simply witnesses. The Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree for 49 days, unmoving. Mara, the tempter, sent storms, illusions, fear, desire. But the Buddha did not react. He did not resist. He simply sat. That image has lasted for centuries, not because he fought, but because he didn't. Stillness is not weakness. It is presence refined into power. And tonight, as your thoughts reach and grasp, as worry stirs under your ribs, I invite you to sit with it, not as an enemy, but as the Buddha sat with Mara, without judgment, without fear. The Monkey King had never met someone who wouldn't fight him. Everyone else tried to subdue him, to scold him, to trap him with force. But the Buddha simply placed a hand in the sky. No anger, no struggle. That calm was so vast, the monkey could not outrun it. He flew to the edge of the universe, only to discover he had never left the Buddha's palm. That is how the restless mind works. It thinks if it moves fast enough, it can escape itself. But all that running, it only brings you back to where you began. You may have noticed this in your life. How no matter what new job, new relationship, new goal appears, eventually the same thoughts creep in. The same fears, the same patterns. Like the monkey, you leap, but the landscape doesn't change. Because the landscape is inside you, and only stillness can reshape it. Not the stillness of giving up, but the stillness of seeing clearly. That is what the Buddha showed the monkey and what you are seeing now. The Buddha's hand in the story is not a threat. It is a reminder, a mirror. No matter how far you flee, you are already held. No matter how lost you feel, you are already seen. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to outrun anything. The peace you seek isn't at the end of some future path. It is here, in this breath, in this moment, in this soft space behind your eyes. In Zen, there is a saying, when the mind is still, the world surrenders. It means that peace is not something you win through effort, but something that rises when you stop wrestling. Picture the Monkey King panting, furious, confused, as the Buddha looks down at him, not with anger, but with compassion. That compassion changed everything. That compassion is available to you now, not from the world, not from anyone else, but from you toward yourself. You've tried so hard. You've carried so much. You've fought battles no one saw. And now, you can rest. You are allowed to rest. You don't have to justify it. You don't need to earn this stillness. Like the Buddha's palm, it's already here. Always here. Just waiting for you to notice. So many times you have confused motion with progress. But the truth is, spinning thoughts don't bring clarity. They just exhaust you. Let them slow. Let them settle. The Monkey King believed he had to do more, become more, fight more. But what changed him wasn't more effort. It was silence. It was the moment he saw that not everything needs a reaction. You don't need to solve every thought. You don't need to explain every emotion. You don't need to make it all make sense tonight. Let it be. Let it rise. Let it pass. Like clouds across a blue sky, like shadows across a temple floor. They come, they go, but the sky remains. The floor remains. You remain. Breathe into that. Inhale gently. Exhale fully. Each breath is a gentle bow to the present. Each breath says, I am here. The Buddha did not destroy the monkey. He honored him, transformed him, gave him purpose. Because inside that wild mind was also loyalty, courage, fire. Qualities that when softened became sacred. You too are not meant to silence your inner fire, only to temper it, to direct it, to understand it. Your passion is not wrong. Your longing is not wrong. Your thoughts are not wrong. They just need space. The monkey was not evil. He was untrained, unheld, uncentered. Once he found stillness, he became a protector, a pilgrim, a guide. What if the parts of you that feel chaotic right now are simply parts of you waiting to be seen clearly? What if your anxiety isn't a flaw, but a messenger? What if your thoughts aren't problems, but signposts? Let's not chase them tonight. Let's watch them. Let's sit with them, like the Buddha sat, like the mountain stood. Let every corner of your body soften now, your scalp, your jaw, your shoulders. Let gravity hold you. Let the earth be your cushion. There's nowhere to be, nothing to prove. Just this moment. Just the hush between words. Just the warmth of being alive. The Monkey King eventually bowed, not because he was defeated, but because he realized there was nothing left to fight. You too can lay down your sword. You can unclench your fists. You can breathe with the rhythm of the universe. In, out, in, out. Let that be enough. You have already arrived. You are already enough. And here in this moment of quiet, a new kind of strength is growing. one born not of resistance, but of presence. Stay here, float here, rest here. The Buddha is not far. He is the stillness you are sinking into and the monkey he's resting to. The mountain that held the Monkey King was not built of stone alone. It was built of the weight of his own defiance, his own illusions, and the restless fire he carried inside. It did not crush him. It held him still. And in that stillness, something ancient stirred, not fear, not shame, but understanding. You may feel the weight of your own mountain tonight, the pressure of responsibilities, memories, or feelings too dense to name. But like the Monkey King, you are not being punished. You are being paused. You are being given a chance to see clearly. In Buddhist teachings, the mountain is not an enemy. It is a teacher. It does not demand action. It asks for surrender. Not the surrender of giving up, but the surrender of softening, of finally admitting that some things are not solved by more effort, but by deeper listening. The Buddha's way was never about force. He didn't chase the monkey through the heavens. He simply offered his palm, and within that gesture, there was an invitation: come back to center. Come back to truth. Come back to the place that never moved, even when your whole mind did. That place exists in you too. It is the part of you that watches, the part that breathes, the part that notices the storm, but doesn't become the storm. You may have felt lost lately, like the thoughts are too fast, the days too short, your heart too loud. But the mountain doesn't ask you to fix those things. It simply holds you until you are ready to remember that peace is not far. It is under the noise, under the reaching, under the trying. The Monkey King, once he stopped struggling, began to see visions in the silence. He remembered his origins. He remembered the wind that gave him breath. He remembered that before he became a warrior, he was simply alive. That memory is sacred. You have it too. Beneath all your doing is your being. You were a child once, not yet concerned with time or success or meaning. Just breath, just light, just wonder. And though you've forgotten, your body remembers. Your soul remembers. In this stillness, that remembrance returns. Not in a flash, not in a loud awakening, but in the way your shoulders soften, in the way your breathing slows, in the way your thoughts begin to quiet like birds at dusk. The mountain did not speak to the monkey. It only offered presence. And in its silent companionship, the monkey began to transform. Stillness can do that. It doesn't lecture. It doesn't explain. It just is. And from that sacred isness, insight rises like mist. You don't need to try tonight. You don't need to meditate perfectly. You don't need to clear your mind. You just need to stay. Stay with yourself. Stay with the rhythm of your body. Stay with the invisible hand that holds you through the dark. Sometimes you confuse healing with movement. But stillness is not stagnation. Stillness is integration. The place where your pieces come home. The place where scattered thoughts gather like petals falling into a bowl. Let that happen now. No effort. Just being. The Monkey King thought the mountain was a prison, but it became a womb. A place of re-beginning. You may feel that you're stuck somewhere in your life, that nothing is changing, that everything is paused. But perhaps that pause is not a failure. Perhaps it is sacred, a breathing space, a cocoon, a quiet field where your soul is catching up with your body. Let that be okay. Let it be more than okay. Let it be blessed. In Buddhist practice, retreat is not escape, it is medicine. The monks walk into the forest not to hide, but to remember. You are in that forest now. Every shadow you feel is a teaching. Every silence is a page turning. Breathe in again. Feel how the air touches the edges of your heart. Not to stir it, but to soften it. Not to demand, but to invite. You don't have to fight anymore. You don't have to win anything tonight. You only have to return to what never left. Presence, kindness, awareness. Like the mountain, they are still here, watching, waiting, loving you exactly as you are. The Monkey King once thought power meant freedom. But in the stillness, he discovered another truth. Real freedom is the release from needing to be anything other than this moment. You are not your accomplishments. You are not your regrets. You are not even your thoughts. You are the space they move through. You are the still mountain beneath the monkey's leaps. And the Buddha saw that. He saw through the chaos into the core. He never tried to crush the monkey. He only waited for him to see himself. Tonight, let's see. Let's not fix. Let's not resist. Let's see. Let each thought arise and let it fade. Let each ache appear and let it soften. You are being held, not by stone, but by silence, not by force, but by understanding. The mountain was not the end of the monkey's journey, it was the turning point. In this moment, this quiet space can be yours. The beginning of something new. Not loud, not grand, just still. Just here. Just you. Breathe in, breathe out. You are not alone. You never were. The mountain only reminds you of what was always true. You often mistake yourself for the clouds shifting, scattered, constantly changing shape with every gust of emotion or memory. But you are not the clouds. You are the sky. The Monkey King, for all his power and cleverness, forgot this too. He believed that his identity was the chaos he stirred, the noise he made, the speed with which he moved from place to place. He swung from one problem to the next, one temptation to another, always caught in the illusion that to be still was to be trapped. And yet, what finally gave him peace was not another transformation, not another battle, but the realization that his true nature was vast, open, and still like the sky that had always been above him and within him. Right now, your thoughts may swirl thick like storm clouds, pulling your attention away from the quiet. But don't follow them. Let them pass. Let them swirl and let them fade. You don't need to catch everyone. You don't need to understand each feeling that arises in this moment. Just let it be. Let it float through the sky of your mind like a bird that has no destination, no burden, no name. When the Monkey King was pinned under the mountain, he could no longer leap away from himself. He was forced gently and firmly to meet the sky within, to meet the part of himself that was not reacting, not resisting, not running. And what he found there was not defeat, it was stillness. That same stillness is rising in you now, quietly, like morning light creeping across your skin. It does not shout. It does not demand your attention. It waits. It waits for you to stop identifying with the clouds and remember that you were always the sky. That every fear, every passing memory, every judgment is just weather temporary shifting without substance. You are allowed to watch without reacting. You are allowed to feel without attaching. You are allowed to be the sky. In Zen, this is called non-attachment, not in the cold sense of disconnecting, but in the warm sense of understanding. You can love without clinging. You can observe without absorbing. You can exist without explaining. Right now, perhaps you feel a thought rising. Maybe it's about tomorrow. Maybe it's a worry or a hope. Watch it like a cloud. Don't chase it. Don't argue with it. Just let it drift. It does not define you. It does not own you. It is only visiting. And when it is done, it will leave. This is what the monkey never understood until the Buddha showed him. That running from one illusion to another only deepens suffering. That trying to grasp the wind only tires the hand. The sky is not moved by storms. It watches. It holds. It remains. You are that sky, even when you forget, even when you panic, even when you cry. The sky does not disappear when the storm comes. It simply waits, in silence, in love, until the storm has passed. Tonight, you are remembering. You are remembering that you don't have to become anything to be worthy. You don't have to fix everything to rest. You don't have to control every cloud to enjoy the sky. The Monkey King, when he finally sat still, began to feel something strange space. The space between thoughts, the space between impulses, the space between breaths. That space is where peace lives. That space is where wisdom speaks. That space is where you are now. Let yourself fall into it. Let yourself float. You do not need to do more. You do not need to be more. You are already enough. The clouds will always come and go. Sometimes they will be bright and gentle like memories of joy. Sometimes they will be heavy and dark like grief that has no name. But they are not you. They are the weather. You are the sky, vast, endless, holding it all. Let that truth settle into your body now. Let your chest soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your mind know that it is safe to rest, safe to be, safe to simply observe. The Monkey King was not tamed by force. He was transformed by presence. And your presence right now is the greatest gift you can give yourself. Don't rush. Don't push. Just be. Inhale slowly. Exhale fully. Like wind moving through treetops. Like breath through open sky. You may feel sensations in your body, tension, tingling, release. Let them come. Let them go. You don't need to hold on to anything, not even peace. Peace comes when you stop gripping, when you open your hand, when you become the sky. The Buddha didn't defeat the monkey by resisting him. He let the monkey exhaust himself. He let him leap, run, rage until there was nowhere left to go. And then with a single gesture, he revealed the truth: you were never separate. You were always held, always whole. Tonight, that truth returns to you, gently, silently, like the moon rising behind the clouds, like stillness blooming beneath your thoughts. You don't need to chase it. You only need to see it. The sky is within you. The stillness is you. And all the clouds, they are just passing through. Clinging is the quiet thief of your peace. It wears many faces. Sometimes the face of love, sometimes of ambition, sometimes of fear. But always, it whispers the same lie, that if you just hold on a little tighter, you will finally feel safe. The Monkey King believed this too. He clung to his titles, his power, his pride. Every victory only deepened his attachment, every accomplishment wrapped around him like another chain. He wasn't just trapped under a mountain, he was trapped inside the fortress of his own grasping. And so are you at times. You hold tightly to expectations, to identity, to how things were supposed to be. You clutch thoughts like talismans, hoping they will protect you from disappointment. You replay conversations, trying to rewrite them. You brace against loss by gripping what you cannot control. But in Zen, we are taught the opposite, not to hold, but to release. To release, not in rejection, but in trust. Trust that life, like the breath, moves in waves. Each inhale, a receiving, each exhale, a letting go. Look closely at what you're clinging to tonight. Is it a version of yourself that no longer feels true? Is it a wound you haven't been ready to set down? Is it a fear that if you stop worrying, you'll lose what matters most? Let that question drift through you, not to answer it, but to feel it, to witness its shape. Like the monkey, clutching his staff, you've used your thoughts as a weapon and as a shield. But they can also be set aside. You don't need to defend yourself from the present moment. You are safe here. You are safe even without the noise. The Buddha taught that suffering arises not from what happens, but from how tightly we hold it. A thought is not pain, but believing, the thought feeding it, looping it again and again. That is where the ache begins. And so we begin to loosen, not forcefully, not abruptly, but gently, with breath, with awareness, with a soft hand resting over a restless heart. The Monkey King clung to his greatness, but greatness did not bring him rest. Only when he released the idea that he had to prove himself did he begin to taste peace. You may feel the pressure to be strong, to be certain, to be productive, even in your healing. But healing is not something to grip. It is something to allow. It moves when you stop pushing. It blooms when you stop controlling. Picture a lotus on the water. It opens with the sun. It does not tear itself into bloom. You are that lotus. And tonight is your soft unfolding. With each breath, you let go just a little more. Not of everything, just of what is too heavy, just of what was never yours to carry, just of what has already taught you all it can. Inhale, exhale. Notice how even your breath knows the wisdom of release. It never holds forever. It flows. It moves. It returns. The monkey's tight fists became open palms. Yours can too. The clinging you've done was not wrong. It came from love. It came from fear. It came from a tender wish to protect yourself. And now with love, you can let it go. Imagine each tight thought as a leaf in your hand. Imagine setting it gently in a stream. Watch it drift. Not rejected, not destroyed, just released. Held by something larger. You don't have to hold it all. You were never meant to. The sky does not cling to the clouds. The sea does not clutch the waves. They pass, they rise, they fall, and stillness remains. You are not losing anything by letting go. You are gaining space, space to breathe, space to feel, space to remember who you are beneath the noise. The Monkey King's strength became deeper when he stopped clinging to control. He found a new power, not in dominance, but in harmony. Harmony with his path, harmony with his companions, harmony with himself. You can find that too. You already are. This quiet moment, this breath, this stillness, it is not empty. It is full. Full of everything you once searched for outside. Full of enoughness. Full of peace. Full of you. So breathe again. Let the breath carry away what no longer serves you. Let your shoulders lower. Let your fingers unclench. Let your heart rest from gripping the past or fearing the future. Here, now, you are free. Free not because everything is perfect. Free because you are no longer trying to control what is uncontrollable. Free because you are letting the moment be enough. The monkey learned that peace does not come from being untouchable. It comes from being open. And in your openness, peace finds you. So don't resist. Don't cling. Just be. Let everything else fall away. Let it all float. You are not falling. You are flying inward. You are not losing. You are remembering. The grip is softening. The mind is quieting. The heart is opening. And here you are. Still, safe, whole. Freedom is often misunderstood. You think it's in the escape, in breaking away and running far from what binds you. Like the Monkey King, you believe that to be free is to leap higher, move faster, outrun the past, and outsmart the future. But true freedom is not found in movement. It is found in stopping. In the moment when you finally sit down and no longer try to escape your own reflection. The monkey believed he was unstoppable. He burst through the gates of heaven mocked. The gods broke every rule, and still he felt restless. No matter how far he went, something chased him. Not a god, not an enemy, but his own mind, his own craving. And you feel it too, don't you? That constant hum beneath your thoughts, the restlessness that follows you into silence. Even in comfort, even in success, something in you still runs. A fear, a hunger, a feeling that you must keep going, or you will be swallowed by stillness. But stillness does not devour you. It reveals you. The Buddha did not chase. The monkey did not scold or fight. He simply placed a mountain over him. A gesture not of wrath, but of mercy. A sacred interruption. The kind you are being offered now. You don't have to keep running tonight. You don't have to chase another thought or explain another worry. You can stop. You can rest. You can sit inside the stillness you once feared and find that it does not hurt you. It heals you. The Monkey King's time beneath the mountain was not a punishment. It was a gift. The gift of stillness, the gift of pause, the gift of meeting himself without distraction. You too are meeting yourself now. Not the you that performs, not the you that strives, but the quiet you, the listening you, the one who remembers what truly matters. The wind does not try to escape the sky. The wave does not fear the sea, so why must you fear your own depth? Freedom begins where resistance ends. When the monkey finally stopped fighting, something shifted. He heard the birds again. He felt the rhythm of the earth beneath him. His mind softened. His breath slowed, and for the first time in 1,000 years, he was simply present. Not achieving, not defending, just present. You are there now, in the space between thought and reaction, in the breath that rises and falls without your command, in the feeling of your body sinking gently into rest. This is the doorway, not a grand gate, not a miracle, but a soft unfolding. You may be tempted to think you must do more to deserve peace, but peace is not earned, it is remembered. You have known it before, perhaps as a child, lying in slide or in a quiet moment of awe when time seemed to pause. That peace is not gone. It is right here, waiting for you to stop and notice. In Buddhist thought, nirvana is not a place you go. It is the extinguishing of the flame of grasping. Not because the fire is bad, but because it no longer serves you. When the Monkey King released the need to prove, to dominate, to escape, he found something deeper than victory. He found clarity. And you too are touching that now. Each breath is a letting go. Each pause is a softening. You don't need to perform tonight. You don't need to reach for enlightenment like it's something outside of you. Enlightenment is here, in this exact stillness, in this exact surrender. Not dramatic, not loud, just true. Freedom is not the absence of pain. It is the absence of resistance to pain. You can feel and still be free. You can be uncertain and still be grounded. You can be imperfect and still be whole. The monkey's chains were never the mountain. They were his beliefs. Beliefs that he must always be first. Beliefs that he was alone. Beliefs that power would make him worthy. What beliefs are you holding tonight? What if you set them down just for a while? What if you let go of needing to have it all figured out? What if you allowed yourself to be enough as you are, where you are breathing and soft and open? Let your body settle even more. Feel the space behind your eyes. Feel the quiet hum of your heart. Feel how nothing is chasing you anymore. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not broken. You are simply here, and that is enough. The Monkey King learned that the greatest strength is not in how much you can hold, but in how willingly you can release. You are learning that now too, not by force, but by grace, by allowing, by listening. Stillness is not the absence of life. It is the presence of wisdom. And in that presence, you will find everything you thought you had to chase. So breathe. Stay. Listen. Let the false freedoms fall away. Let the real one emerge. The one that comes not from flight, but from rest. The one that comes not from escape, but from homecoming. You are already free. You only have to stop long enough to see it. The journey to the West was never just a path across mountains and rivers. It was a pilgrimage into the soul. Every step the Monkey King took alongside his companions was mirrored by a step inward, towards something quieter, truer, and far more difficult to conquer than any demon the self. You may think that your own journey lies ahead of you, in goals not yet reached, in places not yet seen, in tasks not yet done. But the truth is, your greatest path unfolds not outside, but within. Each thought you witness without judgment is a step. Each breath you follow into silence is a step. Each time you sit with discomfort, without fleeing, you are walking your own westward path. The Monkey King began his journey chained not just by the golden band around his head, but by his pride, his impulse to act, his resistance to surrender. You too have worn such bands, though invisible tight loops of self-criticism, old narratives that whisper you are not enough, urges to prove your worth through doing, fixing, pleasing. But on this journey, those loops begin to loosen. You're not here to punish yourself. You're here to travel inward, to return to a part of you that's never needed to be more than it already is. In Buddhist stories, pilgrimage is less about distance and more about transformation. Not how far the traveler walks, but how deeply they see. How clearly they come to understand that the world is not something to conquer, but something to flow with, respond to, and ultimately bow before in humble clarity. The monkey did not change because of how far he ran. He changed because he slowed down, because he learned to see the pain in others, because he began to protect instead of provoke, because step by step he softened. You may be softening now too, not in weakness, but in wisdom. Let yourself feel that. Let the part of you that always rushed to fix or defend finally exhale. The journey is not asking you to hurry. It is asking you to be present. It is not asking you to become someone else. It is inviting you to return to who you've always been, beneath the layers of survival and fear. Each moment you spend here lying still, breathing gently, is a sacred step. Don't rush it. Don't measure it. Just honor it. The road west was long, full of storms, temptation, hunger, and despair. But it also held friendship, insight, laughter, forgiveness. And so does your path. You've faced your share of demons, those voices that say you are too late, too much, too broken. But like the demons in the monkey's journey, they lose their power when you name them. When you look at them directly and say, I see you and I will not run. That is presence. That is power. You don't need to defeat your inner shadows tonight. You only need to sit with them. Let them tell their story. Let them tire. And let them pass. The monkey learned slowly that not every battle was worth fighting. That some victories only fed the ego and drained the soul. He began to ask different questions. Not, how can I win? But what does this teach me? Not, how can I get ahead? But how can I serve the moment? You too can ask those questions. Even now, even lying still, you are learning. Your stillness is not empty. It is fertile. It is listening. Let it speak to you, not in words, but in feeling, in breath, in the gentle pulse of your own heart against the quiet. On the journey west, the companions often quarreled. The path was not easy, nor was their unity always perfect. But in the friction, they discovered compassion. In the difficulty, they uncovered the sacred. Sometimes the part of the journey that feels most tangled is the part that breaks you open in the best way. Let your heart break open tonight if it needs to. Let the soft places inside you rise to the surface without shame. That is the work. That is the step. You are not falling behind. You are not lost. The path you walk is your own. It need not look like anyone else's. You may rest on the side of this inward road. You may pause. You may weep. You may laugh at the absurdity of it all, and still you are moving. Because every moment you are present with what is, you are transforming. The Monkey King could have returned to the old ways. He could have escaped and sought glory once more. But he chose to stay, to walk, to serve. And in doing so, he became more than powerful. He became wise. And wisdom, unlike glory, does not fade. It deepens. So let your own wisdom rise now, not from books or mantras or achievements, but from your being. From the quiet recognition that this moment, this breath, this stillness is sacred. You are on the path. You don't need a map. Your breath is your compass. Your awareness is your guide. And every time you close your eyes, not to escape, but to see more clearly, you are walking west. Let the road stretch before you. Let the silence carry you. Let your soul feel the echo of 1,000 travelers who have walked before you, sat beside firelight, wept at dawn, and continued. You are not alone on this path. The monkey is with you. The Buddha is with you. And your truest self is walking steadily ahead, hand outstretched, waiting for you to catch up, not with urgency, but with love. Breathe and take the next step within. The demons the Monkey King faced were never just creatures of fang and flame. They were mirrors, each one holding up a reflection of the chaos inside him. Greed disguised as giants. Envy cloaked in magic. Fear wrapped in illusion. He battled them with his staff, with wit and rage, but he never truly won until he understood them. You too have fought demons, though they do not bear swords or scales. Yours arrive in quieter forms, sudden doubt in the middle of the night, the weight of regret, the ache of comparison, the fear that you'll never quite become who you hoped you'd be. These inner figures don't shout, they whisper, but their grip can be just as tight. And like the monkey, your instinct may be to resist, to wrestle them into submission, to silence the voice with noise or distraction. But resistance only feeds them. In Buddhism, it is said that karma ripens not to punish, but to teach. Every shadow that rises within you comes bearing a message, not a curse, a lesson, one that can only be received when you stop turning away. The Monkey King often mocked the teachings of others, dismissed them as weak. He believed strength was found in domination. But the longer he walked beside the monk Tripitaka, the more he saw that patience, humility, and kindness held a different kind of strength, one that didn't shout, didn't burn, but endured. And you are discovering that now. As you lie in the stillness of your own attention, you begin to see your so-called demons for what they are: unhealed memories, unspoken fears, echoes of old stories you inherited perhaps from childhood, perhaps from the world's harshness. They are not monsters. They are your own heart calling out for light. And when you respond not with fear, but with presence, something shifts. The demon begins to soften. The fear begins to speak honestly. The pain once hidden steps forward to be held. This is not easy work. It takes more courage to face yourself than to face the world. But here, in this moment, you are doing just that. By simply noticing without running. By feeling without judging. By breathing without defending. That is your strength. That is your awakening. The Monkey King eventually learned that every external enemy was only a reflection of his internal imbalance. The more rage he carried, the more rage the world seemed to throw at him. But when he began to calm, the journey itself became less turbulent. Your world mirrors your mind, not as punishment, but as invitation. The louder your thoughts, the more chaotic life feels. The more anchored you become in presence, the more clarity begins to appear around you, like fog lifting from a mountain ridge. You don't need to be perfect to receive this clarity. You don't need to have every answer. The monkey never stopped being mischievous, but he became aware. He became willing to pause before reacting. He began to ask, what is this teaching me? Can I meet this moment with something other than fear? You can ask that now too. Even in the dark, even in doubt. What is this fear showing me? What part of me still aches to be understood? And can I be with it, not to fix it, not to rush it, but to befriend it, like an old traveler joining you beside the fire? When the monkey stopped attacking every demon and started listening, the journey changed. And when you stop seeing your feelings as problems, your inner world begins to soften. The armor comes off. The heart expands. You begin to see that fear is not the enemy. Numbness is. And presence melts numbness like sunlight on ice. So be present now, with every sound of your breath, with every beat of your heart. Let the demons you once feared approach. They no longer need to be chased away. They are only fragments of you waiting for your return. Imagine one now, a thought that has followed you too long. See it clearly, not to banish it, but to understand it. What does it want to tell you? What story is it protecting? What tenderness lives beneath its sharpness? Let it speak. Let it be. And then let it rest. You do not need to be haunted forever. You do not need to carry every shadow as if it defines you. The Monkey King was not lessened by his demons. He was deepened by them. Each encounter opened him further. Each trial shaped his wisdom. You too are being shaped, not broken, not punished, shaped. Let that truth settle in your bones. Let your body receive it like cool water. You are not at war with yourself. You never were. The battle was always a misunderstanding, a forgetting. And now you remember that the path to peace does not avoid the dark. It walks through it, slowly, gently, eyes open, heart soft. You are walking that path now. and every breath you take in presence is a torch in your hand. Every moment you resist, nothing is a step forward. You are meeting yourself fully, and that is the most sacred meeting of all. The golden headband placed around the Monkey King's brow was not made to punish, but to remind. With each misstep, each selfish outburst, each flicker of arrogance, the band tightened not to hurt him, but to call him back. It was not an enemy. It was a teacher. It whispered, "Come home." And so does mindfulness. It is your golden headband, gentle but firm, a presence that wraps around your wildest thoughts and brings you back to the center, not with force, but with love. You might think of mindfulness as something lofty, something achieved only by monks or masters, but in truth, it is ordinary. It is as near as your next breath, as quiet as your heartbeat, as soft as the space between your thoughts. When the Monkey King first wore the band, he fought it. He raged against it. He felt humiliated, reduced, caged. But over time, as he softened, he came to see it not as a shackle, but as salvation. It kept him from falling too far into himself. It reminded him of what truly mattered. You too have something within that calls you back when you've wandered too far, when you've spiraled into anxiety, when you've lost yourself in comparison or craving. That small, steady voice that says, "Breathe, come back." That is mindfulness. It is not dramatic. It does not shout. It waits. Always it waits. And when you finally turn toward it, you remember you were never lost, only distracted. The monkey's journey would have crumbled without the headband, just as your life would unravel without awareness. Awareness is what allows you to notice the storm without becoming it, to feel the anger without unleashing it, to witness the sorrow without drowning. It holds your experience gently, the way a mountain holds the weather, unchanging, grounded, wide enough for everything. Right now, you may feel emotions rise, or thoughts pressing against the walls of your mind, begging for your attention. That's okay. You don't need to push them away. You only need to notice. Let them be here and let them pass. Mindfulness is the practice of letting life move through you without clinging or rejection. Just this, just now, just breath, in and out. The Monkey King eventually came to respect the golden band, not because it gave him power, but because it gave him pause. It made him slow down. It gave him space to choose a wiser response. You may feel at times like your life moves too fast, like you're reacting before you can think, caught in cycles of emotion or habit. But when you practice mindfulness, even for a moment, you create space. And in that space, peace enters, insight enters, the storm clears. There is no need to chase enlightenment. There is only the need to return again and again to this moment. Just like the monkey did, each time he began to drift, the band called him back. And so does your breath. Right now, it is your anchor. Feel it, not as a task, but as a gift. Feel the air move through your body. Feel the quiet rhythm of life sustaining you. This is your golden thread, your invisible crown, your quiet reminder that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who sees them. You are not the storm. You are the one who watches the sky. The Monkey King was impulsive, fierce, wild, but he was not evil. His journey was one of remembering. Each challenge refined him. Each obstacle polished him. And so it is with you. Mindfulness is not about becoming calm all the time. It's about becoming honest, present, awake, even in discomfort, even in chaos, especially then. Because in those moments when you do not abandon yourself, you are truly free. The golden band was never removed. It didn't need to be, because it no longer hurt. It became a part of him, a symbol of his growth, his humility, his willingness to be guided. Your mindfulness, too, becomes gentler the more you practice it. At first, it may feel like effort, like remembering to breathe, to pause, to choose again. But over time, it becomes natural. A second skin. A friend who walks beside you, whispering, "Be here." So now, as you rest, let that friend guide you. Let your thoughts drift like petals on a river. Let your body soften as if it is sinking into warm earth. Let each breath be an offering to the present moment. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be empty of thought. You only have to return, again and again, without judgment, with love. Like the Monkey King, you are on a journey. You are learning. You are growing. And every time you pause to breathe, to feel, to simply be, you are transforming. This is your path. This is your practice. This is your headband, not to constrain you, but to keep you aligned with what matters most, the truth of now. Let it rest gently upon you. Let it remind you of who you truly are. Not a mind lost in thought, but an awareness vast and loving, holding all things with care. You are already enough. You are already home. There is a quiet truth hidden beneath all striving, all resistance, all suffering. A truth the Monkey King discovered, not in battle, but in stillness. What you resist persists. What you push away only grows stronger. Like a shadow that expands the more you fear it, the parts of yourself you try to silence only echo louder in the dark. The Monkey King tried to control everything. His mind, his fate, his companions, even the will of heaven itself. And yet, the more he clung, the more he fought, the tighter the grip of suffering became. But one day, he stopped. Just for a moment. He stopped thrashing, stopped arguing with what was. And in that pause, he found something unexpected, not defeat, but peace. Not emptiness, but space. Space to see clearly. Space to breathe. Space to rest. And you are invited to find that same space tonight. The part of you that has been trying so hard, trying to feel better, to be better, to fix or solve or control, can soften now. You've done enough. You've tried enough. What remains is not a matter of effort, but of surrender. Not giving up, but giving in to the flow that has always held you, even when you forgot it was there. In Buddhism, this is called non-resistance. It's not passive. It's not weakness. It's wisdom. It is the deep knowing that everything you cling to in fear becomes heavier, and everything you meet with acceptance becomes lighter. The Monkey King learned that the path forward was not always through action, but through opening, through yielding, through listening. So now, in this breath, in this stillness, I invite you to do the same. Let go of the need to change what is. Let go of the need to chase a quieter mind. Let go of the struggle to control what thoughts arise. Instead, become the mountain, become the sky, become the soft space that holds all things without judgment. You are not here to force stillness. You are here to remember it. It's already within you, like a spring, beneath the soil, waiting for you to stop digging and simply sit. Breathe. Let the air move through your body without effort. Let the weight on your shoulders melt into the bed beneath you. There is nowhere to go, nothing to fix. Just this, just now, just being. The monkey's true turning point wasn't marked by grand gestures. It was marked by a small, silent shift the moment he stopped resisting the present. The moment he stopped demanding that life be different. The moment he bowed not to someone else's will, but to the wisdom that had always been trying to guide him. And you can bow now too. Not with your body, but with your breath. A quiet surrender. A soft trust. Let it rise in you like moonlight on still water. You may feel fear arise, or doubt, or grief. That's okay. Let it. Let it be seen. Let it be honored. This is not a practice of pushing feelings away. This is a practice of holding them gently like a child waking from a nightmare, with compassion, with patience, with love. The more the monkey surrendered, the more his true strength emerged. Not the kind that roars, but the kind that listens. Not the kind that conquers, but the kind that heals. You too carry that strength, even now, especially now. Because it takes courage to stop fighting. It takes faith to sit with the unknown. It takes wisdom to realize that peace is not something you achieve. It is something you stop covering up. Each breath peels back a layer. Each pause reveals the space beneath the noise. And in that space, you begin to remember you were never broken, only busy, only distracted, only reaching for what was already within. The Monkey King, after years of striving, came to understand that surrender was not a loss. It was the beginning of his becoming. You are in that beginning now. Don't rush it. Let it unfold. Let the silence speak to you, not in words, but in feeling, in stillness, in presence. You may feel tired. Let yourself rest. You may feel raw. Let yourself be held. The universe is not asking you to be perfect. It's asking you to be present. And when you are present, even the deepest pain becomes a portal. Even the wildest thought becomes a wave you can ride, not drown in. This is your practice now. Not control, but surrender. Not fear, but trust. Not force, but flow. The Monkey King once believed that stillness was death, but he discovered that stillness was the seed of life. And tonight, that seed is opening in you. Let it bloom. Let it breathe. Let it be. The world can wait. Your mind can rest. And you, beloved traveler, can finally come home to yourself, to now, to the peace that has never left. Don't resist. Don't cling. Just be. You are enough. You are safe. You are free. Even the strongest fall before craving. No warrior, no sage, no celestial being is free from its pull, not because they are weak, but because craving is part of the human experience. It is not evil, but it is dangerous when misunderstood. The Monkey King. With all his power, wit, and immortality, was still bound by desire. He wanted respect. He wanted control. He wanted to never be beneath anyone. And in chasing these desires, he fell again and again, sometimes into battle, sometimes into shame, sometimes into silence. Craving in its many forms visits you too. Sometimes it shows up as wanting more success, more validation, more love. Other times it wears the face of escape, the desire to flee discomfort, to erase uncertainty, to rewrite the past. But always, it whispers the same promise. If you just have this, you will be at peace. If you just reach that one more thing, you will be free. But you've seen the truth, haven't you? How one fulfilled craving quickly gives birth to another. How satisfaction, no matter how deep, eventually fades, leaving behind a new emptiness that begs to be filled again. It's not wrong to want. Desire is natural. But when it becomes the driver of your life, peace slips further away. The Buddha taught that desire tanha is the root of suffering, not because wanting is wrong, but because we believe it will complete us. We believe peace lies just beyond the next goal, the next person, the next version of ourselves. The Monkey King lived this belief fully. He chased immortality. He stole from the heavens. He trained endlessly to master the arts of war and magic. And yet he remained restless. His victories were grand but hollow. His laughter loud but not joyful. And maybe you too have known this, that feeling of getting what you thought you wanted only to discover it did not deliver the peace you imagined. Craving is insatiable not because the world is lacking, but because it is a flame that consumes itself. The more you feed it, the hotter it burns. But there is a different fire, a quieter one, the fire of presence, the fire of enoughness. It does not demand, it does not chase. It glows steady like a lantern in a darkened room. The Monkey King only found this flame after he was still, after he stopped reaching for the next conquest. Only then did he feel the warmth of what had always been available: awareness, humility, connection. You are touching that flame now. By lying here, by choosing to listen, rather than strive, by opening to what is, instead of chasing what isn't. Each breath is a refusal to feed the craving. Each pause is an act of rebellion against the illusion that more is always better. You are not empty. You are full of sky, full of softness, full of wisdom that cannot be bought or earned or conquered. Let that truth sink deeper into your bones. You do not need to become someone else to be whole. You do not need to fulfill every desire to be worthy. The world tells you to want endlessly, but the path of peace is about seeing clearly, seeing that enough was always closer than you thought. The Monkey King once believed his name should be shouted from the heavens, but in the end, he found contentment in serving quietly, walking steadily, bowing when needed, laughing without pride. You too can step out of the race. You can breathe without urgency. You can want less and feel more. That doesn't mean you give up your dreams. It means you stop believing they define your value. It means you pursue them with lightness, not desperation. The heaviest cravings are not always material. Sometimes they are invisible, like the craving to be understood, the craving to be perfect, the craving to never feel pain again. But pain is not a punishment. It is a teacher. It arrives not to shame you, but to show you where you are still holding too tightly. And when you see it, when you breathe into it, without clinging, it transforms. Like the monkey, your cravings lose their grip when you stop resisting them, when you turn toward them with curiosity, when you say, I see you. You are not my enemy, but I don't need you to be whole. Craving loses its power when it is seen, truly seen, not indulged, not ignored, just witnessed. So witness now. What have you been reaching for with clenched hands? What have you believed would complete you if only you had it? Let it rise. Let it speak. And then let it go. You are already enough. Not later, not someday, now. The Monkey King discovered that freedom wasn't in conquering desire, but in seeing through it, in recognizing its emptiness and choosing something deeper: presence, love, service, stillness. Let those become your treasures tonight. Let them hold you. Let them remind you that you are already home. Breathe into that. Let the hunger fade, let the flame cool, and feel in its place the quiet warmth of being. You need nothing more than this, nothing more than you. The quietest power is compassion. It does not shout or demand recognition. It does not strike or dominate. It moves like water, soft, persistent, and unshakable in its presence. The Monkey King had known strength his entire life. He had bent the rules of heaven, wielded weapons that could level armies, and spoken words that silenced kings. Yet for all his might, there was one force he could not understand, one that humbled him. Without force, broke through his pride without violence. It was the presence of Guan Yin, the Bodhisattva of compassion. She did not chain him. She did not scold. She simply looked at him, saw him, and that gaze did what no battle ever could. It awakened him. Compassion, in its truest form, is not pity. It is not sympathy from above. It is the deep recognition of shared being. It says, I see your suffering, and I do not look away. I remain with you, even as you thrash and resist. I see through your anger, your noise, your defenses, and I stay. Perhaps no one ever did that for you when you needed it most. Perhaps when your thoughts were loud and your heart was aching, others judged or walked away. But tonight, you are learning to offer to yourself the very thing the monkey received from Guan Yin. Not judgment, not fixing, but presence. Can you stay with yourself now, exactly as you are, without turning away? Even if the thoughts are restless, even if the emotions feel tender or raw, can you breathe and stay? Compassion is not a tool. It is a way of seeing. The Bodhisattva did not see the monkey as a nuisance. She saw his pain. She saw the lost child inside the angry trickster. And with that vision, he softened, slowly, subtly. You too carry layers armor you've worn for years, built from survival, from fear, from misunderstanding. But beneath that, there is still you, unharmed, waiting to be met with compassion. You may have felt alone in your struggles. You may have pushed others away when what you truly needed was to be held. That is human. That is part of the path. But tonight, you can begin to meet yourself in a new way, with kindness, with a gaze that sees through your noise to the tenderness underneath. Imagine Guan Yin beside you now, not saying a word, just sitting near, breathing with you. Her presence steady, her eyes warm. She is not fixing you. She does not think you need to be fixed. She simply stays. Feel how radical that is to be fully seen and still loved, to be witnessed in your chaos and still held in grace. That is the medicine. That is the healing. Not erasing your pain, but staying with it, breathing with it, letting it unfold and dissolve in its own time. The Monkey King didn't change overnight. He flailed, rebelled, tested boundaries again and again, but Guan Yin never wavered. She understood that compassion is not something offered. Once it is a posture, a vow, a willingness to meet pain every time it arises. And you can offer that to yourself now, not as indulgence, but as strength, true strength. Because nothing is harder than staying with what hurts, with what confuses, with what feels too much. But when you do, when you remain in loving awareness, something transforms. The wound begins to breathe. The storm begins to clear. You begin to see yourself not as a problem, but as a process. Not as broken, but as becoming. Let this be your practice now. As you rest, let your mind wander. And when it returns to pain or worry, meet it not with shame, but with care. Oh, you're here again. You might whisper to your thoughts, I see you. You're scared. You're trying to protect me. Thank you. You can rest now. This is compassion, not resisting your own mind, but cradling it gently, like a tired animal that has been running too long. When the monkey learned to listen to Guan Yin, he stopped fearing the soft. He saw that tenderness is not weakness, that love is not naive, that to meet rage with stillness and noise with silence is a higher form of power. And it is that power you are cultivating now, not through doing, but through being. Each breath a vow to stay. Each pause a signal to your body that it is safe to feel. Compassion lives in those pauses. It thrives in the spaces between reactions. It appears when you stop bracing and begin breathing. Let yourself breathe now, fully, kindly. If tears come, let them. If silence feels heavy, let it rest on your chest like a warm stone. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone. The same compassion that met the monkey meets you now. Not in words, not in ideas, but in presence, in breath, in awareness. Let yourself receive it. Let it move through you, softening the edges, warming the cold places, lighting up the rooms within you that were long shut away. Compassion will not rush you. It will not push you. It simply waits for you to open. And you are opening now, like a flower unfolding in moonlight. like the monkey bowing his head, not in defeat, but in realization. You don't have to prove anything to be loved. You don't have to fix everything to be worthy. You just have to remain. One breath at a time. One gentle glance inward at a time. And in that gaze, you will find not judgment, but yourself. The you that has always been there, waiting to be seen. Every thought is a ripple in your lake. Some arrive with a splash, memories, regrets, flashes of worry that disturb the surface. Others drift in like falling leaves, barely touching the water, but still leaving their shape behind. The Monkey King once lived at the center of a stormy mind, each ripple crashing against the next thoughts, tangled with emotion, action following impulse. He never paused long enough to let the lake become still, and so he never saw what lived beneath the surface, his own reflection. You too have carried a restless mind, not because you are flawed, but because you are alive. The mind thinks. That is its nature. Just as the wind moves the trees, thoughts move through your awareness. But just as the tree remains rooted, even as it sways, you remain deeper than your thoughts. The problem is not the ripples. The problem is forgetting that you are the lake, not the wave. You are the stillness underneath, not the storm above. When you forget, you chase the ripples. You follow each thought as if it must be believed, each emotion as if it must be obeyed. You confuse movement for meaning. But meaning does not arise from motion. It arises from clarity. And clarity only comes when the water settles. So tonight, let it settle. Let the ripples soften. Let your mind be a lake at dawn. Mist rising, silence stretching. Not empty, but vast. Not silent, because nothing is there, but because everything is held with such gentleness that it no longer needs to shout. In the monkey's journey, there came a moment when he stopped reacting. A moment when he allowed the noise to pass without adding more noise to it. That moment was not dramatic. It was simple, quiet, but it was the beginning of his transformation. And now, this is your moment. The ripple may still appear, the old story, the worry, the lingering anger, but you do not need to touch it. You can watch it move and watch it fade. You do not need to believe every thought your mind sends your way. Not all of them are true. Not all of them are useful. Some are echoes. Some are habits. Some are cries for attention from the younger parts of you. A ripple is not the whole lake. A single thought is not your entire mind. The more you rest in this truth, the more freedom begins to blossom. Not the freedom of escape, but the freedom of awareness. In Buddhism, this is known as observing the mind with equanimity. Not pushing away what arises and not clinging to it either. Simply seeing. Simply being. Like sitting on the bank of your own inner world and watching the water reflect stars. When a thought stirs, you don't fight it. Don't suppress it. Just notice. That's a thought. That's a ripple. And return to the breath. Return to the deeper water. The Monkey King began to develop this awareness as he walked beside his companions. He learned that not every threat required his staff. Not every emotion needed to be acted upon. Slowly, he stopped jumping at every noise. He began to listen more than speak. That was not weakness, it was strength. And you are practicing that same strength now. You are learning to meet each ripple with stillness, each wave with breath. And when the water is clear enough, what rises is not emptiness, but truth. Insight. Peace. You may have spent years trying to control the mind, suppressing certain thoughts, chasing better ones, trying to sculpt your inner world into something neat. But water cannot be sculpted. It can only be allowed to settle. So let your mind be water. Let it move when it needs to. Let it rest when it's ready. Let each ripple remind you to go deeper, not further. Inhale gently, exhale slowly. Feel the surface of your mind becoming calm. Feel the deeper waters receiving you. There is space here for everything. For your doubts, your joys, your questions, your fears. None of them need to be erased. They only need to be held without judgment. The monkey's mind became a mirror, not by becoming blank, but by becoming still. In stillness, the mirror reflects clearly. In stillness, the truth of who you are appears not as an idea, but as a presence. You are not your thoughts. You are not your ripples. You are the vastness that holds them. Let that truth wrap around you now, like a warm breeze. Let your shoulders drop. Let your eyes soften. Let your breath move without effort. You do not need to control anything. You only need to see. Seeing is enough. Presence is enough. The lake does not need to fix the ripple. It only needs to remain still long enough for the image to pass. And it will. It always does. The thoughts that seemed heavy will fade. The emotions that felt overwhelming will soften. You will remain. You always have. In this space of seeing, you are safe. In this awareness, you are home. Let the ripples come. Let them go. And be still. Be water. Be peace. You don't need to destroy the ego. Just see it. That is all. You don't need to go to war with it. Don't need to silence it. Don't need to shame it into disappearing. The Monkey King never stopped being who he was, never stopped having a mind that darted and questioned and stirred the air. But he learned to bow, and that changed everything. The ego is like the monkey clever loud, always wanting something. Recognition, control, praise, protection. At its root, ego isn't evil. It's simply a set of habits born of fear, trying to protect you from pain. When it says, "Look at me," it really means, "Don't forget me. Don't let me disappear." It wants to survive, like all things. The problem begins when you believe the ego is you. When you forget that behind its voice there is something far more spacious, far more kind. In Buddhism, ego is often called the false self. It is the mask you wear to fit into the world, to survive, to earn love or approval. It's not bad, it's just incomplete. It is the wave, not the ocean. When you try to kill it, it fights back harder. But when you see it for what it is, just a thought, just a voice, just an old habit, it begins to lose its power. The Monkey King learned this slowly. At first, he fought for every inch of identity. "I am the great sage, equal to heaven," he shouted. He carved his name on every cloud, demanded the gods take notice, refused to be invisible. And yet, the more he screamed, the less peace he felt. The more he asserted himself, the more restless he became. But one day, he stopped shouting. He looked at his companions, not from above them, but beside them. He carried the luggage. He walked behind the horse, and without losing himself, he stepped back. He bowed. That was not defeat. That was freedom. You are being invited to do the same, not to erase who you are, not to pretend your wounds or dreams don't matter, but to bow, to step behind your ego and look at it with loving eyes. You might say you're afraid again. You're trying to protect me. Thank you. I'm here now. I can hold us both. That is not weakness. That is maturity. That is awareness. When you stop identifying with every defensive thought, every flash of pride, every need to be right or noticed or safe, you find a deeper ground beneath your feet. That ground is not ego. It is awareness. It is the quiet that never changes, even as the personality shifts. It is the part of you that knows when the ego is grasping and gently chooses to let go. Right now, as you lie in this stillness, notice the voices that arise. Some may say you should be doing more. Some may question your progress. Some may compare you to others. That is ego trying to help in the only way it knows how. You don't need to argue with it. You don't need to obey it. You can simply see it, thank it, and return to the breath. That seeing is everything. In Zen, the masters don't teach students to destroy the ego. They teach them to laugh at it, to smile at it, to see through it the way you see through a dream upon waking. It's not a monster. It's a mist. When the sun rises, it melts. When presence deepens, it becomes transparent. The Monkey King didn't become a saint. He didn't lose his fire. He simply stopped using it to protect his pride. He used it to serve. His staff no longer struck out of anger, but out of necessity. His voice no longer demanded praise, but spoke truth. He was still himself, but softer, clearer, aware. And that is what happens to you too, as you grow in awareness. You don't become blank. You become real. The false layers fall away. The hunger to prove dissolves. What remains is you true open, still alive, but less desperate. So breathe into that now. Let your ego be here. Let it chatter. Let it stir. And then let it rest. You are the space that holds it, the witness that sees it, the sky behind the thought. Don't rush to purify yourself. You are already pure in the seeing. Don't try to be perfect. That is just ego in disguise. Be whole instead. Be present. Be kind. The Monkey King still had moments of mischief even after awakening. But now they were flavored with wisdom, with humor, with compassion. You can carry all of yourself into awakening. Nothing needs to be left behind. You are not here to become flawless. You are here to become free. And freedom comes not through force, but through vision, through the ability to say, this is ego, and this is he seeing ego. That is the shift. That is the bow, not of defeat, but of clarity. Let yourself bow now, in your heart, in your breath. No one is watching. You are not performing. Just return to the quiet behind your name, behind your story, behind the mind. And there, discover the one who watches, the one who sees, the one who has never needed to shout. You were never the storm. You were always the one who saw the sky. The illusion of control is the thread you keep tightening around your heart, believing that if you just pull a little harder, everything will stay in place. That people will act the way you expect, that outcomes will unfold according to plan. That pain can be avoided and peace can be preserved, so long as you stay alert, stay prepared, stay in charge. But no matter how tight your grip things slip, people change, plans fall apart. The unexpected finds a way in like wind through a crack in the door, and when it does, your whole being clenches. You think, what did I do wrong? What should I have done differently? But the truth is, control was never yours to begin with. It was an illusion, born of fear, nurtured by a world that taught you safety comes from prediction. The Monkey King believed in control. He controlled his form, his weapons, his words. He could transform into 72 shapes, fly on clouds, outwit kings and demons. And still, life surprised him. Still, he was humbled. Still, the forces of the world placed him beneath a mountain, not to punish, but to remind him. Power is not the same as peace. Control is not the same as freedom. You have learned this too, haven't you? The days when you tried to hold everything just right, when you planned, organized, anticipated every outcome, and yet the ground shifted anyway. Something broke. Something ended. Something came you didn't ask for. And in that moment, the choice appeared: tighten your grip or let go. In Buddhism, surrender is not collapse. It is not giving up. It is returning to the truth of impermanence. The understanding that everything rises and falls. Everything comes and goes. That no thought, no feeling, no circumstance stays forever. This knowing is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to free you. When you stop expecting life to stay frozen in perfection, you can finally meet it as it is, flowing, shifting, alive. The Monkey King eventually realized that his attempts to control the journey only made it harder. He tried to lead when he needed to listen. He tried to bend the road to his will, only to exhaust himself. But when he began to let go, not of responsibility, but of resistance, everything softened. The path became clearer. His steps grew lighter. He began to trust. And now it is your turn. Not to stop caring, but to stop gripping. To stop thinking that every outcome rests on your shoulders. You are allowed to release the story that says, I must hold it all together. You are allowed to lay down the armor of control. You are allowed to trust the river. Picture yourself in a boat, holding tightly to both sides, fearful of the current. Every rock, every bend, every wave feels like a threat. But what if you loosened your grip? What if you trusted that the river knows its way, that you can steer when needed, but also rest when it's time? Life is not a straight path. It is a winding stream through unknown terrain. But the more you trust your ability to meet whatever comes, the less you need to control what does. Right now, feel into your body. Where are you holding tight? Your jaw, your chest, your stomach. Breathe into those places, not to force them open, but to remind them they are safe. You are safe. You don't need to brace for what hasn't happened. You don't need to replay what already has. You are here. And here, breath by breath, is enough. The Monkey King, when he finally stopped resisting, began to see beauty he had missed. The way sunlight poured through trees, the way the monk prayed each morning, the quiet gratitude of simply being alive. These moments had always been there. He had just been too busy controlling to notice. What are you missing when you grip too hard? What sweetness is being pushed aside by your need to plan, to perfect, to predict? Let it return now. Let your mind rest. Let your body float. You don't need to know what's coming next. You don't need to protect yourself from every angle. You only need to stay soft, to stay open, to stay willing to begin again with each breath. This is the paradox. The more you let go, the more you find. The more you release, the more space is created for what truly matters. Peace does not come from certainty. It comes from presence. It comes from the radical act of saying, "This moment is enough, even if I don't control it." The Monkey King learned that his greatest strength was not his staff, not his speed, not his magic. It was his ability to adapt, to flow, to surrender with wisdom. You have that same strength, right here, right now. Let yourself feel it, not as force, but as grace. The grace of being with what is. The grace of no longer needing everything to go your way. Life will move. People will come and go. Seasons will change. But beneath it all, you remain. A steady awareness, a quiet presence, a sky behind the clouds. Let go. Not as a loss, but as a return. You are not falling. You are floating. You are not breaking. You are blooming. Let the current take you. Let your hands unclench. Let your heart exhale. This is not the end of control. This is the beginning of trust. Even the strongest fall when they carry what was never theirs to hold. And you, like so many, have carried far too much for far too long, grudges that calcified into armor guilt, that hardened into silence responsibilities that weren't yours but were handed to you all the same. Like the Monkey King, burdened not only by his own fire, but by centuries of punishment expectations and karmic debt, you have moved through life collecting invisible weight. But now is the time to set it down. Not all burdens are noble. Not all pain needs to be worn like a badge. Sometimes the most sacred act is to say softly, "This no longer belongs to me." The anger you swallowed to keep peace. The blame you carried so others wouldn't have to feel ashamed. The fear you wore like a mask because the world taught you vulnerability was weakness. These things are not your truth. They are residues, leftovers of old seasons of old selves, and they are heavy. The more you carry, the more your breath shortens, your heart closes, your vision narrows. Like the Monkey King, under the weight of his pride and rebellion, you become tight, defensive, always on edge. But just as he began to lay down those burdens, not all at once, but piece by piece, you too can begin the gentle art of release. Begin with the breath. Inhale and let your body remember what it's like to receive. Exhale and imagine a weight dropping from your shoulders. There is nothing you must prove here. No one you must impress. This moment is not a stage. It is a sanctuary. Within Buddhism, there is a teaching called letting go of the raft. It comes from a parable. The Buddha once said that if you use a raft to cross a river, you do not carry it on your back once you reach the other side. You thank it and you leave it behind. So many of your beliefs were once rafts, ways to survive, ways to understand. But now they have become burdens. It is time to thank them and lay them down. The Monkey King had to do this with his identity. The name Great Sage, equal to heaven, had once given him purpose. But over time it became a chain, a title he had to constantly defend. Letting go did not mean he ceased to exist. It meant he became more real. You are allowed to be real, without the burdens, without the weight of old names, old narratives. You are not who they said you were. You are not the mistakes you made. You are not the image you crafted to be loved. You are something simpler, softer, more whole. Let yourself arrive at that truth not by force, but by release. Picture each burden as a stone in a bag on your back. You don't need to know exactly when it was placed there. You don't need to name it perfectly. Just feel its weight and let it go. One stone at a time. One breath at a time. This is the practice. This is the path. In the silence, notice what begins to rise when space is made. The lightness, the ease, the simple joy of not performing, not defending, not carrying the past like a wound. The Monkey King found peace, not by denying his past, but by no longer letting it control him. He carried his lessons, but not his punishment. He held his memories, but not his shame. You can do the same. You can say, I release what no longer serves, not in anger, not in regret, but in love, in gratitude for the strength it took to carry it, and in the grace to no longer need to. Right now, as you breathe in, feel your body open. As you breathe out, feel something unhook. Perhaps a belief that you must always be strong. Perhaps an old wound still held close. Perhaps an inherited fear. Let it fall away. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your heart reclaim its openness. You are safe here. In this stillness, you are not judged. You are not measured. You are seen. And in being seen, you are free. The world may still move around you. People may still expect. Life may still be unpredictable. But within you, a sanctuary is growing. One where you don't carry what isn't yours. One where you rest. The Monkey King walked lighter as he let go. His staff still strong, but no longer wielded from pride. His words still clever, but no longer biting. His presence became medicine. Yours can too. When you stop carrying the unnecessary, you become a source of stillness for others. Not by teaching, but by simply being. By showing what it looks like to walk unburdened, to breathe fully, to trust the ground, And now, once more, inhale and exhale, and let another burden slip quietly into the earth. There is no rush. There is no right way. There is only breath awareness and the willingness to release. You are lighter now. You are returning. You are enough. The mind is a restless traveler, always seeking, always questioning, always measuring the distance between where you are and where you think you should be. It asks, am I enough yet? Or what's next? And rarely allows you to simply be where you are. But the path of Zen is not walked with the feet. It is not crossed with achievement. It unfolds when you stop running, when you sit with what is, when you listen to the quiet that was always here beneath the noise. The Monkey King once mistook movement for mastery. He thought that the more he did, the more he proved, but it only led him in circles. It was only in stillness, beneath the Bodhi tree of his own surrender, that he began to see not with his eyes, but with his knowing. And you too have this capacity to see, to notice without judgment, to observe without needing to fix. This is called bare attention in Buddhist teaching. The art of witnessing without clinging, without pushing away. To look at your thoughts like clouds, your emotions, like waves, your pain, like weather that will pass. Not permanent, not personal, just passing. Right now, you are being invited into this practice, to not change the mind, but to step back from it. You are not the voice in your head. You are the space in which the voice arises. You are the awareness that hears. So listen, gently. When fear arises, don't push it away. Let it speak, and know you are not it. When memory comes, let it pass like a leaf on the stream. No need to follow, no need to fight. Just watch. This is not dissociation. It is intimacy of the highest order. The intimacy of seeing clearly, of being with your full experience without trying to make it prettier or smaller or more acceptable. The Monkey King struggled with this. He wanted the world to see only his glory, never his shame. But true transformation came when he could sit with all of it. The power, the failure, the longing, the love. In the stillness, he learned that nothing inside him was wrong. It only needed space. And so do you. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be seen by your own awareness. You don't need to change everything. You only need to be with it, with the breath, with the moment, with the truth that is alive beneath the story. Right now, come home to that. Feel the breath as it enters, as it leaves. That is real. That is now. Your thoughts will wander. That's okay. The practice is not to stop thinking. It is to return. Again and again return. Gently, kindly, without scolding, without judgment. This is the art of coming back. And each return is a bow, a sacred act. The Monkey King came back after chaos, after resistance, after pride. He returned to the path, to the stillness, to the truth of service. You are returning too, to the present, to the breath, to yourself, the self beneath the noise, the self that has always been enough. Not the perfect self, the true self, and that self is at peace. Not because everything is solved, but because it has stopped fighting. It has stopped running. It has stopped needing to become and has learned to simply be. You don't need to do more right now. You don't need to fix the past or plan the future. You only need to soften, to breathe, to stay here. This moment is whole. This moment holds you. You are already inside the temple. You only have to stop moving and see. You've spent so much of your life trying to be heard, trying to be understood, trying to explain the weight inside your chest. And yet so few ever truly listen, not because they don't care, but because the world has become loud. Everyone is speaking. Few are hearing. And so your soul grows quiet, not from peace, but from fatigue. The fatigue of repetition, the fatigue of not being received. But there is a deeper kind of listening that you are beginning to remember now. Not with ears, but with presence. Not to respond, but to understand. In Buddhist teaching, this is called deep listening. Compassionate listening, the kind that heals without needing to speak. When the Monkey King began to listen, not just to words, but to silences, his heart changed. He stopped interrupting. He stopped assuming. He started to ask, what is this moment trying to tell me? And that is the question you must live inside now. Not, what should I say, but what wants to be heard. Begin by listening to your own breath, how it rises and falls without demand, how it carries you through each hour without needing your permission. Let that breath become your teacher, your guide, and then move inward. Listen to the body. What is it whispering to you beneath the tension, beneath the weariness? Is there grief there still unspoken? Is there longing you've never let rise to the surface? Listen not to fix, not to label, but to hold. The way a parent holds a child who has cried too long. The way a tree holds every bird, even the broken ones. Deep listening is not about volume. It is about presence. You do not need to raise your voice to be heard by the universe. You only need to become still enough to receive what has always been speaking to you. The wind, the pulse, the ache, the dreams, they are not noise, they are messages. When the Monkey King began to truly listen to the monk he traveled with, he realized the wisdom he had ignored for so long. It wasn't that the monk was louder. It was that Sun Wukong had grown quieter, and in that quiet, the truth could finally find its way in. You don't have to speak over the noise. You can step beneath it, into the quiet cave of your own awareness, where you listen not only to others, but to yourself. The part of you that has waited patiently for attention. The part of you that remembers who you were before the world taught you to perform. Right now, let that version of you speak. Not with words, but with feeling. Let the sadness surface if it wants to. Let the joy return if it's ready. Let the numbness melt if it begins to thaw. You don't need to analyze. You don't need to understand every detail. You only need to stay present, to stay open. Deep listening doesn't require answers. It creates space. And in that space, healing begins. The wounds don't vanish, but they are no longer ignored. They are met, held, loved. You can do this. With each breath, you can become the listener your soul has been waiting for, the friend who doesn't interrupt, the monk who simply sits, the tree that doesn't move but gives shade. You may not always feel understood by others, but here in this silence, you can begin to understand yourself, not in concepts, but in connection, not through explanation, but through attention. The Monkey King had to listen deeply to change not just to others, but to the part of him that had been masked by noise. He listened to the echoes of his old pain. He listened to the wind in the trees. He listened to the sound of his own footsteps. And they all told him the same thing: come home. Not to who you should be, but to who you are. You are on that path too. And every moment you choose to listen rather than react, you are walking it, slowly, surely, silently. There is wisdom here, and it has been calling your name softly all along. You've spent so long seeking answers, thinking perhaps there is a secret, a hidden teaching, a final insight that will quiet everything inside. You've searched books, teachers' moments of revelation, thinking that when you finally understand enough, then the pain will dissolve, the restlessness will end. But Zen does not arrive through understanding. It arrives through emptiness, through the release of needing to know, through the soft surrender of the mind's grip on meaning. The Monkey King was clever beyond measure. He knew every trick, every loophole, every way to twist logic and win. But wisdom did not come to him when he was brilliant. It came when he was quiet. It came when he stopped chasing the next answer and began to sit with the question itself. This is what you are being invited into. Now not resolution, but presence. Not knowing, but being. You may not understand everything that brought you here. You may still wonder why certain wounds were given, why certain dreams were denied. And still, the invitation is to stay, to breathe, to become intimate with not knowing, because it is here in this space of softness that the deepest peace begins. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called beginner's mind. It means seeing without the burden of knowledge, like a child sees a butterfly for the first time, like a monk sees the morning light after years in darkness. You are being asked to return to this mind, not because you are naive, but because wisdom has shown you that knowing everything is not the goal. Peace is. Let the questions be here without demanding they answer themselves. Let the confusion rest like fog over a field. You don't have to chase it away. Just be in it. Let the unknown hold you. It is not your enemy. It is a temple of unfolding. The Monkey King once thought that mastery meant certainty, but mastery in truth meant becoming humble again, bowing to the moment, the letting each breath teach him what no scripture could. And now, here you are, breathing, aware, awake, not because you figured it all out, but because you finally stopped trying to. When the mind stops grabbing for conclusions, the heart has space to speak. And what it says is always simple. This moment is enough. You are enough. Not when the mystery is solved, but when you choose to sit with it gently. Inhale. Feel the peace of not knowing. Exhale. Feel the release of needing to. This is your homecoming. To a self that trusts the unfolding, that doesn't rush the blooming, that doesn't demand a straight line through a spiral path. There is no rush. The answers will come when they do. And even if they never come, peace is still possible. The Monkey King learned that when he surrendered, the chaste joy began to appear in the smallest things, the way dew gathered on leaves, the sound of a bird echoing across hills. These were not answers. They were presence, and presence is always enough. Let your mind unclench now. Let your thoughts dissolve into the breath. Let your heart rest. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to understand. Just this, just now, just breath. There is a silence deeper than the absence of sound, a silence that is not empty, but full of awareness, of presence, of a kind of truth that cannot be spoken, only felt. You've brushed against this silence before, in the quiet moments before sleep, in the space between thoughts, in the stillness after a long cry. It is here now, gently surrounding you, like water holding a drifting leaf. In Zen, this silence is not something to escape. It is something to return to. For it is only in silence that the mind stops clinging and the soul begins to speak. The Monkey King once feared silence. He feared what might rise in it, the voices he had ignored, the wounds he had buried, the truths he didn't want to face. And so he filled the space with noise, with action, with distraction. But the silence waited patient and unmoving. Until one day, when his energy wore thin and his cleverness no longer protected him, he sat down and listened. What he heard was not thunder, not judgment, but stillness, kindness, space. You are in that place now, even if you don't realize it. The stillness is here beneath the worry, beneath the busy thoughts. It does not ask anything of you. It only invites to stop striving, to stop narrating, to stop measuring your worth by how much noise you make in the world. In this silence, you begin to notice things the mind usually misses, the way your breath enters cool and leaves warm, the subtle rhythm of your heartbeat, the softness in your hands. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who observes them. You are not your past. You are the one who holds it, who breathes through it, who continues anyway. The silence reminds you of this. And each time you return to it, you return to yourself, the truest self, the one that existed before the stories, before the roles, before the noise. In Buddhist practice, this is the nature of non-self, not a void, not a lack, but a spacious awareness that cannot be grasped because it is already what you are. You don't need to become anything. You only need to remember, to unlearn, to dissolve. Let this moment be the temple. Let this breath be the bell that calls you back. The Monkey King learned that silence was not punishment, it was sanctuary, not exile, but return. And in that return, he found something deeper than power. He found peace. You are walking that same path now. Maybe you've been running from silence, fearing what it might show you. But what it reveals is not your unworthiness. It is your wholeness. It shows you that even in stillness, you are enough. Especially in stillness. You don't need to perform. You don't need to prove. You don't need to be useful or clever or good. You only need to be. That is the most radical thing, to simply be, without noise, without striving, without adornment. Just this breath, just this presence, just this silence holding you like a cradle, reminding you that you belong not for what you do, but for who you are when all else falls away. There is a moment on every journey when the traveler feels alone, not because there is no one around, but because something inside begins to dissolve. The old identities no longer fit, the familiar habits no longer soothe, and the path ahead feels both vast and uncertain. You may be in that moment now. It may feel like something is missing, like something is ending, like you are floating between worlds. This is not failure. This is transformation. In the teachings of Buddhism, this space is sacred. It is the threshold between illusion and awakening, between the self you performed and the self you are becoming. It is the in-between, the silent gate, the moonless night before dawn. The Monkey King once found himself trapped in the mountain, sealed by the Buddha's palm, unable to move, unable to escape. And for 500 years, he waited not for rescue, but for ripening. He thought it was punishment, but it was preparation. Alone, stripped of movement and praise, he came face to face with himself. He learned to sit with silence. He learned to bow to stillness. And in time, the anger softened, the pride melted, the fear began to loosen its grip. What emerged from that solitude was not a beast, but a disciple. You too may feel sealed in a mountain now, isolated by pain, misunderstood by others, unsure of what your next step should be. But this is not the end. This is a deep beginning. Solitude reveals what distraction hides. It brings up what busyness buries. And though it may ache, it is sacred. You are not being punished. You are being invited to come home to yourself, to listen more deeply than you ever have, to feel the beating heart of your own humanity without needing to be rescued from it. There is no need to fill the silence, no need to fix the feeling. Just breathe. Let the loneliness be a teacher. Let it show you the places that still long to be met. Let it soften you, not harden you. For in Buddhist wisdom, the illusion of separation is the first veil. When it lifts, you realize you were never alone. You were never outside the whole. You are the ocean, thinking it is a drop, the sky believing it is a single cloud. But in truth, you are already connected, already held. The breath that rises in your chest is the same breath that stirs the trees, the same breath that passes through the sleeping animals and the monks in distant mountains. We are all breathing together. You are not alone in your stillness. You are resting in the shared silence of all living things. The Monkey King once believed he was separate, more powerful, more clever, more cursed. But in his stillness, he saw that even his enemies were his teachers. Even his pain was a doorway. Even his solitude was a circle, bringing him back to everything. So too are you being brought back to the truth that has waited beneath every distraction. You are not alone. You never were. You only forgot. And now, through the silence, through the ache, through the breath, you are remembering. Gently, slowly, truly. When the mind grows tired from questioning and the heart grows tender from longing, there comes a quiet realization. What you've been searching for has never been far. Not in temples, not in teachings, not even in stories. But here, within the breath, within the moment, that asks for nothing, that gives everything. This is the turning point, not of drama, but of deep seeing. You have wandered, long tried many paths, worn many masks, and still, underneath it all, there remains a quiet voice, like a bell in the distance, gently calling you home. The Monkey King, after lifetimes of struggle, realized that no power could free him from the weight of his own mind. No speed, no wit, no magic could untangle the knot of self unless he became still enough to notice how tightly he was holding on. He was not asked to stop being himself. He was asked to see himself clearly. That is what this moment offers you. Not correction, not condemnation, but clarity. The soft mirror of the present reflecting back, not what you pretend to be, but what you are when you stop pretending. You don't need to push harder. You don't need to become better. You only need to see. And what you see might surprise you. Because beneath the ache is peace. Beneath the noise is stillness. Beneath the fear is love, not romantic, not dramatic, but pure presence, the kind that holds everything without flinching. In Buddhism, this is the practice of looking deeply, not at others, not at the world, but into your own heart. Not to judge it, but to touch it, gently, with kindness, with curiosity. Like a monk who sees a wounded bird and kneels beside it, not to fix but to accompany. Can you accompany yourself now? Can you breathe without needing to change the breath? Can you sit without needing to escape? This is the great reversal, where striving ends and intimacy begins, where the soul no longer begs for proof, but rests in its own knowing. There is nothing missing in you, nothing to repair. There is only a remembering, like clouds parting, to reveal a sky that never left. The Monkey King once thought enlightenment was a destination, but what he found instead was presence. He learned to bow not just to Buddhas, but to each moment, to the wind, to the ache, to the silence. That bow was his liberation, and it can be yours right now, in this breath, with no fanfare, no applause. Just you here, awake, in the most ordinary way. And in that ordinariness, something extraordinary opens. A softening, a light, a stillness that holds even your restlessness. You are already whole. Not when you fix everything, but when you allow everything to be as it is. Let that truth hold you now, like morning light across water. You don't need to move. You don't need to know. You only need to be, and you are. There is a stillness that doesn't arrive suddenly, but is revealed slowly, like mist clearing from a mountain path. You are not creating peace. You are uncovering it. Beneath the clutter of thoughts, beneath the weight of expectations, beneath the tiredness in your bones, it is there quiet, steady waiting. And the more you allow yourself to stop reaching, the more it begins to rise. In Buddhist wisdom, this is not a reward, but a return. Not something earned, but something remembered. When the Monkey King laid down his pride, not in defeat, but in humility, he began to see the world not as a battlefield, but as a mirror. Each moment reflected something he had not yet understood. The rock was not just a rock, it was patience. The stream was not just water, it was surrender. The monk walking beside him was not just a companion, he was a path in human form. And you too are surrounded by mirrors. Every irritation is a teacher. Every delay is a doorway. Every breath is a chant calling you back to the truth that peace is not in escaping life, but in meeting it fully. You don't need a perfect moment. You only need this one. The way your breath moves gently in and out. The way your body, even in its tiredness, continues to carry you. The way you are still here, even after everything. That is the miracle. Not that the pain ended, but that you stayed. That you kept walking. That you opened even when it hurt. The Monkey King had to learn this through hardship, through solitude, through countless missteps. And so do we all. But the beauty is that every moment can be the beginning. Even now, if you close your eyes not to escape, but to feel, you'll notice it. The soft rhythm of your breath. The way your chest expands like a quiet wave. The silence beneath the thoughts. This is the temple, not far away. Not later, here, now. This breath, this body, this heart. You don't need to fix anything. You don't need to become more spiritual, more pure, more wise. You only need to see that you already are. The teachings were never outside of you. They live in your cells, in your stillness, in your gaze when it softens. In Buddhism, there's a saying, chop wood, carry water. Enlightenment doesn't erase ordinary life. It reveals it. It transforms chopping wood into meditation. It turns carrying water into prayer. This moment, too, is part of the path. This breath, this silence, this ache. Don't run from it. Sit with it. Let it bloom. Even your discomfort holds wisdom. Even your fear has something to say. When the Monkey King stopped fighting each moment and began to meet it as it was, he found not only peace, but freedom. True freedom. The kind that doesn't depend on outcome. The kind that is born from presence. You are tasting that freedom now. Each time you return to your breath, each time you choose stillness over struggle, each time you bow inward, you are remembering what the world made you forget, that your being is sacred, that your silence is not empty, that your breath is enough. Let yourself rest in that now. No story, no striving, just being. Here, whole, already home. Sometimes, peace arrives, not like a bird soaring across the sky, but like a stone sinking slowly into water. It doesn't dazzle or shout. It simply settles. Quiet, undeniable, real. And you too are settling now. Not because all the answers have come, but because something inside you no longer needs to chase them. This is the deep rest the teachings speak of, not the rest of sleep alone, but the rest of release. Release from needing to hold everything. Release from needing to understand everything. Release from needing to be anything more than what you are in this very breath. The Monkey King, after a lifetime of rebellion and brilliance, came to see that the mind's constant movement was not freedom. It was its own kind of prison. He had flown through the skies, changed shapes, tricked gods' outrun armies. And yet the moment that brought him closest to true liberation was the moment he stopped, sat, breathed, listened, not to the world, but to the stillness beneath it. You are doing the same now, sitting in this night with your breath like a gentle tide and your body softened into stillness. You are closer to the truth than you realize. You don't need to go further. You don't need to earn it. You only need to allow what's already here. The warmth of your body, the weight of the bed beneath you, the slow rhythm of your breath. These are not distractions from the path. They are the path. In Buddhism, we are taught that the body is not separate from awakening. It is not something to be transcended or escaped. It is a doorway, a sacred ground. Every sensation is a bell. Every heartbeat, a drum calling you back to presence. So when you feel tightness, breathe into it. When you feel weariness, let it speak. When you feel peace, don't question it. Just let it bloom. Let it wash over you like water over stone. You are not a problem to be solved. You are a mystery to be held gently, with care, with love. The Monkey King began to see that wisdom wasn't hidden in scrolls or battles. It was in the stillness between thoughts, in the humility of not knowing, in the grace of each breath. The masters say, when walking, just walk. When eating, just eat. When breathing, just breathe. Can you do that now? Can you breathe without chasing the next moment? Can you rest without guilt? Can you allow yourself to be fully in this moment without needing to improve it? That is the practice. That is the miracle. You've come so far, and still the truth has not changed. It was always here, beneath the noise, beneath the striving, beneath the stories, waiting for you to see it, to return to it. And you are, right now, with each breath, with each pause, with each moment you choose stillness over speed, you are returning. Not to something new, but to something ancient, to something quiet and sacred and utterly your own. And as you rest in it, now know that this peace is not fragile. It is not fleeting. It is not something you must grasp or protect. It is yours. It is you. Let it hold you. Let it soften you. Let it carry you through the night like a river carrying a fallen leaf, effortless, gentle whole. There is a kind of peace that grows in silence, but not in the silence that demands stillness from the outside world instead. The silence that blooms within, even when everything around you moves. It is a peace that is not dependent on conditions. It does not come because everything is perfect. It comes because you have stopped resisting what is. It comes not when the storm ends, but when you realize you are not the storm. You are the sky it moves through. The Monkey King once believed that strength meant control. Control of others, control of events, control of fate. But every time he grasped tighter, life slipped further from his grip. He chased power, but power turned on him. He chased freedom, and it vanished. Only when he collapsed into humility, only when he stopped grasping, did the truth come quietly to meet him. And it is meeting you now, not with thunder, not with answers, but with presence, with breath, with the hush that arrives when there is nothing left to chase. This is not surrender in the way the world defines it as giving up. This is the deeper surrender, the one that means giving in to reality as it is, giving in to yourself as you are, giving in to the moment, even if it arrives with tears or silence or uncertainty. The world taught you that you must strive to be worthy, that you must fix, accomplish, succeed, become. But this path, the quiet one, the ancient one, whispers something else, that you are already worthy, that you don't have to prove anything, that the seed is no less sacred before it becomes the flower. You too are sacred. Right now. Even in your confusion, even in your weariness, even in your doubt. Especially in your doubt. Because doubt is the sign that something deeper is stirring. That the old answers no longer satisfy. That a truer voice is rising from within, and that voice, it does not shout. It does not command. It invites. Like the soft lap of waves against the shore. Like the rustling of bamboo in the night. Like the breath you take right now without effort. The Monkey King, in his travels with the monk, began to notice the way his teacher moved through the world, not resisting, not grasping, not judging. He did not demand the path to be different. He simply walked it with open eyes, with steady steps, with a heart that bowed to each moment. And slowly, the Monkey King stopped fighting the world. He stopped trying to conquer it. He began to listen. He began to see that the tree was not in his way. It was teaching him stillness. That the rain was not a punishment. It was a reminder of cleansing. That the detours were not delays. They were the path itself. And now, as you rest here, you are being shown the same. That nothing is wasted. That every breath holds a teaching. That your struggles are not signs you are broken, but signs that you are growing. Sometimes the most profound wisdom comes not when we seek it, but when we soften. When we stop trying to be wise. When we stop trying to be anything at all. And simply allow ourselves to be held by the moment. To be breathed by the universe. To be exactly who and where we are, without effort, without resistance. In Buddhist teachings, there is a deep knowing that impermanence is not to be feared. It is to be welcomed, because it means nothing is fixed, nothing is final. Even your sorrow, even your fear, even your restless thoughts, they will pass. Like clouds across the sky, like wind through the reeds, like the sound of a bell that rings, then fades, leaving only the memory of its clarity. You do not need to hold on. You do not need to push away. You only need to witness, to be here, to feel this breath, to feel the rise and fall of your chest, to notice the quiet that surrounds each word, each thought, each heartbeat. That quiet is your home, not a place you must reach, a place you return to when you stop running, and you are returning now. The Monkey King's journey was never about reaching the destination. It was about remembering his true nature, the one that existed before the chaos, before the rebellion, before the masks. Your journey is the same, and in this moment, without moving, you are remembering that you are not separate, that you are not behind, that you are not broken. You are life itself. You are breath. You are awareness. You are the witness that sees without judging. You are the presence that holds it all. Let yourself be that now. Let the silence wrap around you like a warm blanket. Let the breath slow and deepen. Let the thoughts drift by like leaves on a stream. You don't need to follow them. You don't need to change them. Just let them pass and return again and again to this breath, to this stillness, to this sacred, ordinary moment. You are not late. You are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. And everything you've been seeking, the peace, the rest, the wholeness, it has been here quietly waiting all along. Just as the Buddha waited not to punish the Monkey King, but to teach him. Just as the silence now waits not to judge you, but to welcome you. Let yourself be welcomed. Let yourself be enough. You already are. And as the night deepens, as your breath softens, as your heart opens like a lotus at dawn, know that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are home. There is a softness that unfolds not from the absence of difficulty, but from the willingness to be present within it. It is not the kind of peace that avoids the world. It is the peace that meets the world with open hands. You have touched this peace already, maybe in fleeting moments when you looked at the sky without thinking, when you held your breath in stillness and felt the pulse of life moving through you, when you surrendered not out of defeat, but out of deep trust. This softness does not weaken you. It strengthens you in a way that control never can. The Monkey King learned this not in a moment of triumph, but in a moment of deep stillness, kneeling before a truth he could not outsmart, could not outfight, could not outrun. And in that kneeling, something inside him broke not his spirit, but his illusion. He saw that all his striving had only taken him in circles, that all his resistance had kept him bound. And when he stopped resisting, when he simply bowed and breathed and listened, he felt something he had never felt before. Space. Space around his thoughts. Space inside his chest. Space in the world to simply be. No task, no race, just presence. You are touching that space now, not by force, but by letting go. Not by figuring everything out, but by no longer needing to. This moment holds no requirement. It does not ask you to be perfect. It only asks you to be honest to be here, to let your shoulders drop, to let your breath be what it is, to let the silence speak its ancient language. Buddhism teaches that the path is not linear. It is not a ladder you climb. It is a circle you walk, a spiral that returns you again and again to yourself, each time a little softer, a little clearer, a little more whole. You may think you are starting over. You are not. You are spiraling inward toward the center of who you are. And that center is vast. It is not a fixed point. It is a spacious awareness, a compassionate gaze, a deep knowing that has never abandoned you, even when you forgot how to see it. The Monkey King, once proud and restless, began to notice the quiet joys of the journey, the sound of the wind at dusk, the warmth of tea shared with a companion, the feel of the earth beneath his feet. He had once seen the world as a battlefield. Now, he saw it as a teacher, not through words, but through being, through simplicity, through surrender. You can feel that shift too, even now. The way the air brushes your skin, The way your body, though tired, still holds you. The way your breath moves, not because you command it to, but because life moves through you unceasingly. You do not need to create peace. You only need to notice it. It is already here, in the sound between words, in the pause after exhale, in the feeling of simply existing without needing to explain. This is the medicine the ancient ones spoke of, the healing that comes from resting in your true nature. Not a nature you must build, but one you must remember. Beneath the noise, beneath the stories, beneath the striving, there you are. Unchanging, unshaken, undiminished by the world's demands. And in that place, you do not have to be anyone other than who you are now. The Monkey King had to let go of his idea of greatness. You too might need to release your idea of what peace is supposed to look like. Because often, peace looks like nothing. Just a breath. Just a still moment in the dark where you feel for no clear reason that everything is okay. That you are okay. You may weep in that moment. You may smile. You may simply breathe. All are sacred. All are real. This is the journey, not upward, not outward, but inward. And each step you take toward yourself, each breath that brings you home is a blessing. Not from the outside, but from your own deep being. In Buddhism, we speak of non-self, not as erasure, but as freedom. Freedom from clinging to an identity that was never solid. Freedom from performing, proving, comparing. You are not the thoughts you have. You are not the roles you play. You are the awareness behind it all. And that awareness is never broken, never unworthy, never lost. Even now, as your eyes grow heavier, as your breath deepens, you are held in that awareness. The way the ocean holds each wave, the way the sky holds every storm, without resistance, without judgment, only space, only love. Let yourself be held. Let your thoughts pass like clouds. Let your breath be your anchor. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to remember that you were never broken. You are not here to escape life. You are here to meet it, to open to it, to soften into it, and in that softening, to find the strength you forgot you had. The Monkey King did not lose his power when he stopped fighting. He found a greater power, the power to be, the power to choose love over fear, presence over panic, stillness over struggle. That power lives in you too, not someday, now, with this breath, with this stillness, with this silence. Everything you need is here. Everything you've searched for has always been inside you, waiting for you to come home. And now, you have. The night deepens, and yet there is no darkness here, only quiet. Only the kind of stillness that feels like returning. You are not alone in this silence. You are being witnessed, not by someone outside of you, but by a deeper part of yourself. The one that has always been here, the one that has always known. The more you soften into this breath, the more that self reveals itself, not with grandeur, not with declarations, but with presence. The Monkey King once believed that greatness required spectacle, that being seen meant doing more, shouting louder, running faster. But the more he chased visibility, the more he disappeared within himself. It wasn't until he was forced to be still, to sit in silence to observe the movements of his own mind, that he realized the true meaning of presence. Presence is not performance. It is not about doing. It is about being fully, unguardedly, completely. And now, in this moment, you are learning the same. You are not here to impress anyone. You are not here to achieve stillness as a prize. You are here to fall back into your own rhythm, to feel the breath, not as something you control, but as something that carries you. In Buddhist teaching, there is a word, tathata, or suchness. It means the truth of things just as they are, not as we want them to be, not as we fear they might become, just as they are. The softness of your breath, the weight of your limbs, the tender ache of being human. This is suchness. And when you stop running from it, when you stop trying to reshape it, you find something incredible. You can rest here. You can live here, not as an escape from the world, but as your truest home inside it. The Monkey King came to understand that truth is not a weapon to wield. It is a mirror that reflects. When you are brave enough to stop filling the silence, when you allow the mirror to show you yourself, not the masks, not the identities, not the stories, but the raw presence beneath it all, you discover the deepest kind of peace. Not comfort, not control, but peace that says, I am here. I am enough. I belong. And yes, there may still be thoughts. There may still be memories that rise like smoke, but you do not need to chase them or extinguish them. Let them drift. Let them be part of the scenery, not the center of your being. Because your being is vast. Your being is spacious. It is the sky, not the storm. You are not your mistakes. You are not your regrets. You are not even your fears. You are the one who sees, the one who listens, the one who continues, even now, to soften. Let yourself soften more. Not collapse, but unfold, like petals in the morning sun, like the sky after a long night. In Zen, there is no need to fix the world before finding peace. The path is not one of perfection. It is one of acceptance. Acceptance is not giving up. It is coming closer. It is choosing to sit with what is to breathe with it, to hold it without needing to change it first. This is compassion, not only for others, but for yourself, especially for yourself. The Monkey King learned that compassion was not weakness. It was the courage to meet the world with an open heart, even after being hurt. It was the strength to forgive not just others, but the self he used to be. And now, you are invited to do the same. Let go of the hardness you've worn like armor. Let go of the endless doing. Let go of the belief that peace must be earned. It is here. It is yours. Breathe into that. Breathe into the space that holds you. Breathe into the stillness that welcomes you like a temple without walls. You don't need to say the perfect words. You don't need to have the answers. You only need to be here. To feel the way your breath rises and falls. To notice the way your chest expands and softens. To allow the mind to settle not because you force it to, but because you no longer follow it. Let it wander. Let it slow. Let it dissolve like a dream at dawn. And what remains is you, not the idea of you, but the living, breathing presence that has been beneath all of it. You do not need to try harder. You only need to trust. Trust that this breath matters. Trust that this rest is sacred. Trust that your presence right now is a miracle. The Monkey King, once wild and untamed, did not lose his essence when he found peace. He deepened it. His fire did not go out. It became the quiet flame of wisdom. And that same flame burns in you. It does not demand attention. It simply glows. Let it warm you. Let it guide you. You have nothing to prove. You have only to return. And you are returning now, breath by breath, deeper into yourself, into this moment, into the peace that holds everything, even the thoughts, even the tears, even the laughter that surprises you in the middle of the night. All of it belongs. All of it is welcome. You are not outside of life. You are life. You are the breath. You are the stillness. You are the awareness that sees, that feels, that holds. Let yourself be held. Let yourself be loved, not by someone else, not by some faraway God, but by the quiet truth of your own being. That is where the Buddha waits, not on a throne, not in the heavens, but in the space between your thoughts, in the hush after the exhale, in the silence that says you are home. You have always been home. The closer you come to the center of your being, the quieter everything becomes, not because the world outside has changed, but because your relationship to it has. The sounds are still there. The memories still float. The old emotions may stir now and then, but they no longer pull you in the same way. You begin to see them as they are passing weather, not permanent truths. And in this gentle unfolding, you find that the silence is not empty at all. It is full of clarity, of presence, of the life that continues without your needing to control it. The Monkey King once fought the heavens because he feared being forgotten, feared being small, feared that without a title, without a throne, he would be nothing. But in his journey beside the monk across deserts and mountains and quiet villages, he learned to find joy in moments that no one else witnessed. The smell of wet earth after rain, the way birds rest on a branch without fear, the laughter of a child too young to know ambition. These became his sanctuary, his teaching. And they are yours too, if you are willing to see. It is not what happens in the world that brings you peace. It is the eyes with which you see it. It is the heart with which you meet it. And your heart, though it has known pain, has also known great love. Perhaps you have forgotten this. Perhaps you have been told too often that strength means never needing anyone, never faltering, never resting. But look now. Look at how your body cradles itself as you lie here. Look at how your breath continues without being asked. Look at how your awareness has stayed with you through everything, waiting for the moment when you would turn inward again. That moment is now. The peace you are feeling is not given to you by me or by any teaching. It is rising from within. Like a spring from deep underground, like moonlight on water, soft, effortless, undeniable. Zen teaches that the world reflects your state of mind. When you resist, everything feels like an obstacle. When you soften, even difficulty reveals its hidden gifts. The Monkey King once saw enemies in every shadow, but when he began to trust, began to listen, he saw teachers instead. The old man with the crooked back who spoke in riddles, the child who asked him why he looked so angry, the woman who gave him a bowl of rice and said nothing at all. These were not delays in his journey. They were the journey. And now you are learning the same. This moment is not between things. It is not wasted. It is sacred. Let your breath remind you of that. Each inhale a welcome. Each exhale a letting go. You don't need to hold on so tightly. You don't need to brace against life. It is not coming to harm you. It is coming to meet you. When the Monkey King finally stopped running, finally stopped searching for a battle to prove his worth, he realized something simple yet profound. He was tired, and beneath that tiredness was a deep longing, not for power, but for rest, for stillness, for the kind of peace that does not require him to be anything other than himself. And in that space of honest surrender, he found it. The Buddha did not punish him. The Buddha simply held up a mirror. And in that reflection, the Monkey King saw not a demon, not a failure, not a problem to fix, but a being who had traveled far, who had tried his best, who had suffered and survived, and now deserved to be free. You are that being too. You have walked through your own deserts. You have faced your own fears. You have carried your own burdens. And now it is time to set them down. Just for a while. Just for this breath. Just for this night. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw unclench. Let your thoughts settle like dust in a room that no longer needs to be swept. You are not late. You are not lost. You are not failing. You are unfolding. And unfolding is not something you must force. It is something that happens when you stop gripping, when you stop rushing, when you allow yourself to be. The Monkey King thought enlightenment would be a moment of fireworks, of visions of divine applause. But it came quietly. It came like the soft patter of rain. It came like the hush of a temple at dawn. It came when he was washing his hands in a stream and suddenly felt the sacredness of water, of skin, of time itself. That is how it comes to you too. In a breath, in a stillness, in a moment where you stop chasing and realize you have arrived. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to be anything. This is the temple. This is the teaching. This is the peace. Right here, right now. Let yourself sink into that. Let the breath hold you like a mother holds a child. Let the silence sing to you, not with words, but with presence. Let the space between thoughts widen until all that remains is being, and that being is more than enough. You are not here to be perfect. You are not here to solve everything. You are here to be alive, to feel, to rest, to know yourself beyond the noise, to remember what the Monkey King finally understood, that true freedom is not escape. It is intimacy with the moment, with the breath, with what is. And right now, what is beautiful. Because it is real. Because it is yours. Because it is held in the quiet wisdom of the universe that has never abandoned you. Breathe, beloved. breathe, and let go. This is the final breath of the journey, yet not an end, only a return. A return to what has always been waiting, beneath the noise, beneath the effort, beneath the questions that weighed on your chest like stones. The Monkey King. After traveling countless miles, crossing kingdoms, and facing illusions, came to understand that the longest distance was never between him and the heavens. It was between him and his own heart. And you too have walked far tonight. You have stepped quietly across landscapes of thought, of memory, of longing. You have entered the cave of stillness, not to hide, but to meet something ancient and familiar, the self that was never lost, only covered. Covered by fear, by striving, by noise. But now, the covering has grown thin. Now, the breath flows without resistance. Now, the silence is not something you bear. It is something you trust. Do you feel that soft current beneath your skin? That gentle awareness like moonlight on water? That is you unguarded and complete. And from here, you see everything differently. The past no longer chases you. The future no longer pulls you. What matters is the breath rising and falling, the space that holds all things without judgment, the truth that does not speak, but simply is. In Zen, there is no enlightenment to achieve. There is only the letting go of all that obscures what is already here. The Monkey King thought he needed to win something, but in the end, he simply needed to stop fighting, to sit beneath the tree like the Buddha did and watch his thoughts pass like clouds, to see desire for what it is, not an enemy but a teacher, to see fear for what it is, not a failure but a signal to soften. He bowed his head, not in defeat, but in understanding that everything he searched for in the sky had always lived in the quiet places of the earth, in a stream, in a breath, in the gaze of someone who truly sees. You are being seen now, not by me, but by the part of you that knows, that always knew. You are not falling asleep into forgetfulness. You are drifting into remembrance. The cells of your body remember. The rhythm of your breath remembers. The silent stillness that holds you now remembers. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing anything. You are the sky that contains all her weather. You are the river that flows regardless of the stone. You are the watcher who neither clings nor resists, just is. And that isness is sacred. It does not require applause. It does not perform. It does not need to be seen to exist. It simply breathes. And now you breathe with it. The journey has brought you here, not to an answer, but to a space where questions no longer matter. Not because they were wrong, but because they no longer bind you. You do not need to know. You only need to rest, to be the field where knowing arises on its own. Like lotus from the mud, like dawn from the dark. There is no need to hold on to this feeling. It is not something you can grasp. It is something you surrender into. And the more you surrender, the more it holds you. The Monkey King found peace, not in power, but in presence. Not in banishing his flaws, but in seeing through them. In realizing he could hold his strength and softness together without conflict. That he could laugh again, not with arrogance, but with joy. That he could serve not as a slave, but as someone who had finally come home to himself. Tonight, you come home too. Not to a house, not to a story, but to the breath, to the silence, to the calm pulse of life that continues regardless of noise. Breathe it in. Let it fill you. Let it become you, for it already is. The teachings were never outside. They have always been waiting in the pauses between your thoughts, in the space between the inhale and the exhale, in the part of you that still remembers how to trust. You are not asked to be perfect. You are not asked to awaken anyone else. You are only invited to rest so deeply that awakening happens without effort. Soften your brow. Loosen your grip. There is nothing more to do tonight. There is only the next breath, and the next, and the next, until breath becomes space, and space becomes sleep, and sleep becomes return. Return to the you who was never in pieces, the you who always knew the way, the you who walks beside the Monkey King and Buddha not as a student, but as one who remembers. Remember that you are carried. Remember that you are whole. Remember that every moment you've lived, even the ones filled with pain, have led you here not for punishment, but for peace. For this silence, this surrender, this sacred release. The sky does not hold back its stars, and you no longer need to hold back your being. Let go. Drift. Rest now. Let the teachings do what they've always done, not command you, but cradle you. Like the mountain cradles the mist, like the night cradles the moon. You are enough. You are home. You are loved.